Give it a few minutes, see who jumps on. Ooh, one person on. Get the chat going here. Oh, two are on board. How's everybody doing? All two of you. Sorry for the lesser quality camera today. I'm traveling, so hopefully everybody can hear me. What's up, Cosman? I believe Nick Hill will be jumping on here to join me in the conversation in just a moment. So I'm kind of giving him a moment to join in. I'm also stuffing my face because I'm very unprofessional. Awesome. Cool. Well, give Nick a few seconds here and see if he pops on. Hey, Reed. Reed, I have your shirt all packed up. I just got to head to the post office. Obviously, that wasn't an option today. So, oh, thanks, Cos, man. Yeah, man. It turned out really well. I was uncertain of how it was going to go, just because I kind of got brought into it last minute. But yeah, it turned out great. Hello, 13 Flaws. I'm stoked to see everybody in here. Anyone joining that didn't catch it a minute ago, Nick Hill will be stepping in here in a moment. And we're going to get into this silly topic that I have today. And just talk about the Wells stuff a little bit as well. Wells as well. Hey.
Sorry.
All good. I believe we're both live now.
Oh. Hey, right.
Thanks for jumping on, dude.
Yeah, man. Of course. I have every part except solder.
Yeah.
Pretty sick. But it looks good.
Nice. Oh, yeah. It's going to be a banger.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun.
I have some harsh lessons I learned from putting these in. Really from doing a few things. I definitely did some things half-assed and not intentionally, just major learnings that will end up in a video so that no one else makes the same mistakes. But man, can't wait.
Yeah, I think you're going to be stoked once it's all done.
I already am, and the damn thing's not finished.
Awesome. So I'm going to pull this up since we're still getting in. There's about 10 people on the stream now. So 9. Oh, not that one. I'm getting
Cosman, what's up, brother?
having a bun moment. Cosman wants to know how the name for Wells came to be.
Oh, man, that is a good question. So, hopefully you guys are familiar with Bun and his Wetlands project. And I'm like, I love wetlands, man. I got to think of something like wetlands. And Bun went, what about wells? I'm like, all right. There it is.
Very anticlimactic.
Yeah. Sorry.
That's cool. My band's name came from an error in autocorrect.
Dude, that's a great error.
Yeah, the guy, JP, that was the former guitar player back in the day when we first started it. I was texting him and the then drummer, Dan, for like names because we were recording stuff, but we didn't have a name yet.
Yeah.
And JP's effort to tell me to shut my trap turned into close the hatch. So it just became...
Dude, nice.
Yeah. And then he was like fighting for that to be the name. So, because it was silly. But yeah, the original name was versus the thylacine, which is quite a bit to say. So, close the hatch, I guess, works better.
I sort of like names that are difficult to say for some reason.
Yeah.
Like half of Lamb of God's albums you can't pronounce because they're in Latin.
Yeah. Boy. Well, I think we got. Give it a minute. See if anybody else sounds better than "Shut Your Pie Hole." Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
agree.
That's a dad. It's a
Can-
dad insult.
Yeah. Can you see the comments, Nick, or do I need to bring them up?
I can see
Okay.
them. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool being on this side of it. I didn't know. I like how it shows me I have amazing internet and it says I'm in the yellow. Give me a break.
Mine says I'm in the red, but it's clearly working
Restream's
fine.
so awesome.
Dude. Not real. I mean, related, but not related to this. But we did that podcast yesterday, and it was hell getting Restream to work for some reason.
Yeah.
Hey, Anthony.
Sometimes, man. What's up, Anthony? And when it works, it's great. You know?
The stuff that's cool about it, like being able to pull up the questions and stuff, is amazing.
Mm-hmm. Pretty easy to bring guests in. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Not super intuitive for... Here we are. We're using the program and we're shitting on it. Not super intuitive for, like, routing in different audio.
No. I can't. I mean, I have the mid-tier, like, so I can't even do that.
You can't do anything. Even my Pro is the same as yours. You can't. It's just like you pick one thing. It'd be nice if I could pick my interface. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyhow.
Let's see. Anthony, well, what's up, everybody? We'll just get into it because the topic is silly. I'm trying to make these worthwhile. I have a single channel interface today, so I can't play guitar and talk.
Topic is about my weight.
It
Heavy
is.
things?
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm working on it.
Meh. I literally downed Wendy's with a 5-minute window between starting. So
That's what Wendy's is good for. If you savor it a little too long, then you're like, what did I just do?
It wasn't good. I'm gonna regret it. Okay, so the topic is what is heavy, and
It's a good topic.
yeah, because I'll just
People
be.
intuitively lean towards tuning, but I don't know if that's the case.
I don't either. What's up, Miles? It stems from me getting repetitive comments on my channel saying that the things I'm doing and saying are like, this is heavy, this is not, or whatever. Just in general conversation, people are being like, that's not heavy. So that's where the topic came from. So I would use the negative comments to
Well, they're right.
to make a topic here.
Yeah,
So
you got to.
yeah,
You got to break into them.
right. So yeah, I don't know. What is heavy to you?
I feel like heavy is in the riff or the feel. Was it you and me who were talking? And this has been, said to death by many people with this same argument. But look, it's early Sabbath. They're in E.
Mm-hmm.
You telling me that album's not heavy? Because
Yeah.
I think it is.
I agree.
A lot of there are, I'm trying to think like somewhat obscure things from my like musical preferences, like we talked about like Opeth is one of my favorite bands, and people don't necessarily consider Opeth heavy, which is bizarre to me because there's some insanely heavy stuff, but it's not always the blatantly heavy things that I think are heavy, you know what I mean? Hotel California is dense.
Well, that's the thing. I think, for me, I think it can be all of that shit. Like what you're saying is the riffs can just be the heavy part, regardless of what the tuning was.
Yeah.
Which is kind of the point I was making with is E standard still heavy video that people were giving me a hard time about.
What was the consensus in your comments? That it's not?
More so that people just liked it, and some people leaned towards the basics because it was heavier. And then other folks liked the standard and just, E2 stuff because it was equally heavy, but you could also hear the bass more.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was a few folks that were just straight up jerks, so I ended up just blocking those comments, but because It's of no use for me to argue with them.
You know, I don't. This is a good discussion, but since we're on the topic, like I don't understand the innate desire to profess that one opinion is the be all end all. You know, this clearly goes deeper, but it's often a thing with music. Um, uh, I mean, all those thrash albums are an E. There's heavy shit on, 80s and 90s thrash everywhere.
Yeah, there's still bands that release records that are heavy that are in standard.
Yeah, I think I was just listening to one the other day,
Almost every Dillinger Escape Plan song is in standard.
I really think it's in the riff and the composition and the vibe.
I think it's that, and then sometimes just, I think the lyrical content can make a song heavy.
Yeah.
I kind of was talking about this when I was getting all those comments initially. I was talking about it with my wife, and I was like, kind of, like, really, if you think of, like, both versions of the Nine Inch Nails song Hurt, both the Johnny Cash version and the Nine Inch Nails version, are arguably heavy because they're heavy in content.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the context of the song and the subject matter are heavy. It's just a different way of approaching it.
Yeah, I agree. I think from a trolley guitar player though on YouTube, they're not going to look that deep into it. You know what I mean?
No, but I think it's like, okay, if that's the thing, is it not tuned low enough? Is there not enough double bass in it? Like, what is it that is making it heavy?
But man, I'm curious as to what the new Zombie record, what they're tuned, what John's tuned to on that, because I just listened to that today on the way home, and it's heavy all over the place. But I guarantee he's not. No, I shouldn't say this. It doesn't sound like he's tuned super low.
I think they're just in CGCFAD.
Okay.
That's what he was on the last record they did.
Yeah, and that's pretty much my go-to tuning for everything that's not on a baritone. But let's see, what do we got? I'm trying to think in my head, like, really rack my brain for examples.
Zeppelin is heavy.
There we go.
Like,
Zeppelin's heavy all over the place,
right.
And it's on the the inverse side. I was listening to a playlist, and some real modern genty stuff came on, and it was like that really chopped up, like just like it sounds programmed, completely programmed.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. To me, I'm like, dude, this is not heavy. It's like it's like, okay, but they're probably tuned down at least to B, if not lower, But again, that's my opinion.
Yeah.
Like, the composition of those riffs were boring to me.
Yeah.
Well,
that's the thing. I think that's more so what negativity of it is it's not what that person likes.
Yeah.
It's not their taste. Which means nothing to do with the subject matter at hand. It just has to do with their personal taste in music. Yeah. It doesn't make it more or less heavy. It's all subjective, right? But, like, it doesn't make them right or me wrong necessarily.
Right. And I think that's what I'm saying. Like, this can go deeper, where it's like when you present a video like that, you're trying to say, like, hey man, maybe think about it differently. Right. Think about it with more of an open mind.
Well, like, I don't know, like, kind of what Miles is saying about, like, slide stuff, but it made me think of like Robert Johnson stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's heavy, in that the context of it is heavy, and that, like, dude's selling his soul and shit. Like, that's pretty fucking heavy.
Yeah.
Nick Cave, agreed. Road Bull. Nick Cave is often very heavy in a very weird way.
Yeah, see, that's cool when you wouldn't consider, and that's what I'm trying to do, like, trying to think of shit that, like, Zeppelin was a great example.
Yeah.
There's something super heavy on every Zeppelin album.
Well, most Lamb of God's in drop D.
Yeah.
Like, almost every song is just in regular drop D.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. it seems like a silly thing.
Yeah, I mean that's what the internet is good for, though, is guys, you know, shouting from their soapbox that their opinion's the right opinion. And it does get a little exhausting, but it is it's a good way to reflect on the, hey man, are you thinking about certain things that way too? Because you know I'm sure we're both guilty of it. I mean,
Yeah.
I know I am.
What's up, Tim Wheeler?
What's up, Tim? But yeah, even like, you know, some of the Close the Hatch songs that are like a little more spaced out and slower, I still feel the opening track is a perfect example. Pretty spaced out, pretty laid back, but it's still heavy to me. You
Yeah.
know, it's dense, it's brooding. There's something to it, you know. Uh, so it is such a silly topic too. Like it is very, very subjective.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I just realized that Bun is doing a live stream in like 15 minutes, so I guess I'll say goodbye to all of you.
Well, we can go until then, and then we'll be alone.
Yeah.
Or can we can watch Bun's stream from your stream?
I guess we could, or you could just bring him into this one.
Or we'll just bombard his.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, man. It just that stuff always seems so silly to me. Like I get it. I'm not an elitist with that shit. Like I think that's one of the weirder things. Like I don't know. All of music can be a little bit elitist, but I feel like metal genres in general are extremely elitist with its fan base.
Yeah, it's weird. Very much so in some regards.
It's because it's also like it's outsider music originally. Like you know what I mean? Like it's
Well, yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Like there's supposed to be this attitude of inclusiveness because we are the ones that are on the fringe. You know, the punk scene was that too. Probably
right.
still is. I don't know, but you know that's what metal is, and I know, dude. I know for like when I was younger, I was the same way. You know, I liked what I liked, and this band sucked.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter. This band sucked. You know, there's people who give me shit for liking A, B, or C band, and it's like, yeah, but have you even given them a real chance? And if you really get to the bottom of it, people are like, nah, they're just that, you know, that song, I hated that song. Like, oh, okay. All right. So you don't really have any ground to walk on here. You based opinions on minimal effort. That's a story, you know. Well,
I get you get that, and then I don't know, man. I feel like it's people kind of inherently have it. Like I'm bad about that. I know just like because you and I talk when we're not on streams, of course.
yeah, yeah.
Like it's I don't know if maybe I'm wrong, but I'm also one of those type of people. If everyone's like, hey, you got to check this out, you got to check this out, you got to check this out, it is some part of me is like, fuck you.
Yeah.
It's not the right way to approach it at all.
No. I get that way too.
Because I'm just like, yeah, like sometimes things get so overhyped, it sets them up for failure.
Yep. Yeah. Well, no, this is going to be a controversial topic, but like, and I don't think we've ever talked about this, but like load and reload.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, that's an E flat,
Mm-hmm.
standard, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
There's heavy shit all over it. If any other band other than Metallica wrote those albums, that band would be, you know, that would have propelled whatever band wrote them,
Mm-hmm.
you know, to another level. But because it was Metallica and it alienated so many people, like, and it's like, well, did anybody stop to think like, hey, that's what they fucking wanted to write at the time?
Yeah.
Can't do that?
Even at that point, weren't they were like 15 years into their career or something like that? It was
Yeah.
a long time into it.
Like they had just came off what 4 straight years of touring on the Black Album.
Right. Load and Reload are good records, actually. I got no.
Yeah, and
it's kind of a southern metal record.
Yeah, absolutely it is. But E flat, if we're bringing it back around, E flat all over that album, there might be a track that's tuned lower,
Right.
but I don't know, man. I just, you know, I think it's opportunities like that is to just like, hey, man, just try and like look at shit differently. You know, Miles said about glycerin, Bush's glycerin. Isn't there only guitar and vocals in that track.
for the most part.
It's there's heavy parts. There's layers. It's I don't know. There's a lot to it, and I think maybe it comes with age too.
Yeah,
But
without question.
yeah,
I'll text Bun to see if he'll just jump on here, or we can jump on his thing. That way we can not be fighting each other.
he's got a pretty. He always has pretty streams.
He does.
He'll probably let us in his or ruin his topics.
Yeah, I text him through WhatsApp, so I don't know if he'll actually get it. Sometimes he doesn't respond.
Yeah, it's hit and miss when I text him through cellular, I guess.
Yeah.
Megadeth is greater than Metallica. Well, that's just like your opinion, man.
Yeah, Reed.
There's
Yeah.
some stuff that,
Yes.
yep.
Neurosis is in drop D pretty often, and they're also in a B augmented tuning as well. Yeah, they're heavy. I mean, I don't know. They've been heavy since the beginning, even when they were a punk band early on.
Road Bull, said that, Megadeth is greater than Metallica. There's heavy Megadeth shit, and I don't think he ever got away from E standard. Maybe now. I think they probably tune down lower now, just so Dave can sing. But I'll never debate those two. Like, I love them both. They were really formative when I first started getting interested in guitar. So there's no point, in my opinion, in arguing.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, I don't know. I was kind of weird on both because when I was early on, I didn't care for either Hetfield or Mustaine as singers.
Yeah.
You said Bun is on Discord.
Oh yeah. So I mean, if we do a quick synopsis of like my projection as far as metal goes, like, first of all, I was into like Rush and classic rock because that's what my stepdad listened to, so I listened to it all the time, and I loved it. And speaking of which, there's heavy Rush. Like, don't fuck with Rush either. There's some heavy Tom Petty songs, man. If you like, they're like heavy blues. Man, it's whatever. But, I got into Megadeth and Metallica and, Testament. And then when I discovered Swedish metal, I was like, I'm never going to listen to Metallica and Megadeth again,
I found Testament around the same time as I found Metallica.
Yeah.
And same, I don't know, man. Like, even like most of the early thrash bands that are like super, like Slayer, I didn't care for Tom I Riot either.
Mm-hmm.
I still like all that stuff. Like, now I have a better appreciation for it, but at the time I was like, I really don't like any of the singers of these bands.
Yeah. Slayer, it was funny. Tony said, we were talking about music. She's like, Nirvana, like, I don't really like them. I respect what they did, but I don't really like them. And I'm like, that's a funny thing people say. I respect what they did, but I don't like them. Mm. And then I'm literally about to say that about Slayer. It's
Slayer.
like, there's some Slayer songs I dig. Rain and Blood, sick song. A bunch of stuff off of forget it. But yeah.
Rush, Caravan, yep.
Not the biggest Slayer fan, but
I found Slayer through Cam FDM.
Oh yeah. I think that's the same route we took too. My buddy Lenny and I kind of took the same. We were just on this musical discovery. It was insane, yeah. And then we got into Testament, and there's some heavy Testament stuff. But then that's what I was gonna look up, like Testament: The Gathering, which I think is one of the heaviest albums ever conceived. I wonder what they're tuned to.
I think they went to C eventually, but I don't know what they started out at.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Accept and stuff. Like, there was a lot of bands back then, It's Anthrax, the same thing, like weird singer, always a weird singer in Anthrax.
Yeah, and they had a kind of a revolving door of singers too.
Revolving door of weird singers. Like,
Yeah, I liked. Um, I want to say it was like mid 2000s.
yeah,
There's a couple albums that of Anthrax that I actually got into that I really enjoyed. That being said, I'd never been a huge Anthrax fan. You know?
yeah, kind of the same. Like it's the same thing. I don't know, man. I understand. Like, I can't say I don't like something when I appreciate. Like, I appreciate what they're doing. It just is not necessarily something that speaks to me. King's X, I love. Cost Man, they're like one of my favorite bands of all time. In Flames is great.
Yeah.
The thing with King's X is that the songwriting is great, but they're also trio, 3-part harmonies on fucking every song, and they're the best band I've ever seen live. Out of every, hundreds of bands I've seen live, King's X is still number one. That's what made me like them.
Aren't they pretty like epic?
They can be.
I've never listened to them.
They were kind of early, like they were one of the first bands to start detuning. They had, what's that record called? Gretchen Goes to Glasgow or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Is in drop D, and that's a like 80s record. Just a mixture of things because it was like heavy hard rock and soul stuff mixed together.
Yeah.
But like Ty Tabor's a fantastic guitar player, and just I don't know, it's really well constructed stuff. But I saw them live when I was in like my junior year of high school,
Mm-hmm.
and I'd still like I've seen them 4 times since then. They're still the best band I've ever seen, but it's because they've been playing together since the early 80s.
Yeah.
They're still a band, still the same 3 dudes,
Man.
but they all are like they all sing and they all sing well.
And they're all amazingly talented musicians.
But the thing is they were doing shit and then stopping on like half measures and talking. Like they would just talk to the audience or like talk amongst themselves. And it'd go like 5 minutes would go by and they'd come back in on the same half measure. Like nothing fucking happened. And I was like,
So
this
they
is
were just
fucking
those kind of musicians.
they were fucking throwing down and they
Yeah.
still do. And it was just like, okay, like these guys have clearly been a thing for a long time and know each other very well.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's I don't know. They're still the best band I've ever seen. I've seen a lot of them.
I think the band Silosis, Josh Middleton's band before he joined Architects, they're all in E, and then they went down to D. So it's like, and Silosis has heavy riff after heavy riff after heavy riff. Like Josh Middleton is a riff machine. And I even think on the new Architects album, they're tuned to E, but they use like a D tuner that's fuzzed up that he plays, he just has it on all the time to make them sound like they're in E. What would that be? 1?
Yeah.
So
if they're high,
that would be E0, right?
yeah. It's 1 minute to Bun stream and still no response.
Oh, he's probably too.
He's chatting over there.
On the stream?
Yeah.
Let me see. I'll jump in this stream and let us crash your stream.
Yeah. Rough Riffs is over there. A few other folks. Looks like 11 folks. We're fighting for stream, people. Dude, today is the day it rolls. Early Brandaler, the jam. Just pre-Mastodon Daler. He and
Mastodon. Isn't there early stuff? Aren't they tuned up?
they were always tuned to like the whole step down, and then they do like a weird super low A thing. Call the Mastodons in D and C and A.
Okay. So I have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about.
Yeah, Brandaler and the fucking Keller. They were both in Today is the Day. Yeah, Bun is officially live now.
Maybe he'll still let us crash it.
Yeah.
Oh, he's got an intro?
Yeah, I see that.
This dude. This dude's stepping up. Like
Full-time
I had
YouTube
to
life.
talk him into streaming, and now he's surpassed.
Yeah.
Son of a bitch.
Oh boy. But yeah, I don't know. I guess the topic ultimately comes down to it just being subjective. Like, it's a silly thing to get very particular about. It's like everybody, has a different view of it. But I think anyone who's looking at it from, I don't know, a critical thinker, it can look at it from a perspective of, okay, all of this stuff is heavy depending on how you look at it.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't expect you to juggle. I understand that.
No. I'm trying to get it. I'm going to stay with you, but I'm trying to distract him
No, I'm very.
and say, like, let's go over there.
Yeah, I mean, might as well if we're already on. I didn't realize he was doing a thing. I've been using fucking in-ears for all these streams the past 2 days, and it is fucking my ears up.
Really? Oh, hurting?
Yeah, it's starting to hurt.
Oh.
Usually I don't wear them more than like 30, 40 minutes if I'm playing a show,
Yeah.
But
Oh, yeah. Good point.
like sitting down for 2 hours on end and with them in my ears starts to hurt.
How did the podcast end up going?
It's fine. It fucked up. Like the stream was weird here, but then the recording of the stream didn't have those issues.
Good.
Yeah. Our internet's so shitty.
Here? Or there?
No, in Canada, we started running into the same problems Bun was having with Rogers. Because Mercedes does a lot of live stuff for her work. Like she does Zoom like constantly. And it's just not been working. So, and then she was trying to do that with me yesterday. It kept disconnecting. So we paid for fiber today.
Oh, man. That's an investment.
Yeah. But, when we move, I think we're switching to Starlink. The problem with Starlink is that if you buy it, you can't move it.
Are you sure?
Yeah, you have to buy a new satellite. Like buy a new thing. I think it was Aaron was talking to me about that. Like you can't transfer it.
I would look into that.
Yeah.
I thought I heard differently.
If you can, you can. And awesome. We're already paying the same amount of money that Starlink's charging, so.
Yeah.
It's more money up front, but after that it's fine. Anyways, this is not relative to this thing. What in-ears?
Heavy.
Yeah. What in-ears am I rocking? They are these Shure ones. They're not the super expensive one, but they're like the mid-tier one. They work pretty well.
That's food for thought because I was thinking about getting in ears for this type of thing, but it definitely don't you typically have to get them fitted?
I just bought over-the-counter ones. I've had fitted ones before, and I lost them, so I've just been buying the cheap ones. But these were still like $250.
Yeah, that's what I hear happens. Like people will pay for a fitted set and then they lose them or break them, and then it's like, okay, well.
Dude, I had a custom fitted set of ear plugs that I got before a tour, and on our first show, I lost one of them. Koss is going to hang up a bun. Bye, Koss.
Bye, Koss, man.
We're going to probably pull into there, so.
Maybe he'll let us join in the general discussion after he's done with his topics. Although, what baritone for what? Oh, okay.
Shut her down around 11. I'm always okay to go a little bit long.
He is just now actually getting into the thing.
Yeah.
Fitted plugs are great until you sing. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
that's a thing. For shows anymore, my keys are over here. I have this thing. Actually, this is a funny story. So I have this thing that holds earplugs. But I got it out at a show once and did this, and then started tapping it on the bar because the earplugs wouldn't come out. And a lady legit like thought I was getting ready to dump coke on the thing.
She was like, "Can I get some?"
No, she was fucking furious. The bartender's
wanted
like,
a
"You can't
bump.
fucking do that here." And I was like, "It's fucking
Wow.
earplugs, you dickhead."
Wow.
Uh,
Very presumptuous.
yeah, like it's not my world. But yeah, I just got these the heroes or whatever the fuck they're called. And I have a pair of those that stays
How
on
those
my
work?
keychain. They're great. You can still hear enough. Like it just cuts things down, but you can still hear low frequencies and stuff, and high frequencies shit enough to like it doesn't feel like
Yeah, that's really what you want. Is you want to cut the highs. That's the part that fucks you up.
Yeah, and I've gotten used to it, but I also have a thing of the squishy ones that just stays in my bag, because sometimes if I forget those or I play somewhere and I don't think to grab them,
Yeah.
then I'll just put one of those fuzzy ones or the squishy ones in one of my ears so I can hear myself.
Yep. Same.
Best solution to having shitty monitor mixes.
I also just practiced, like, with ear
Uh-oh.
plugs in all the time, so that I would get used to how shit sounded, and
Mhm.
I don't know. I have really good rhythm, so that comes like you don't really need to hear what's going on half the time.
No, I think if you're paying attention, you should be all right.
Yeah. Yeah, so speaking of heavy things, I had some harsh lessons putting the baritone together. Mainly, I don't have proper tools,
Yeah,
the
that's a
right
thing.
tools, and shitty tools like makes things harder.
Without
Oh,
question.
he's talking up our fucking album.
That's cool. I can't hear him, but
I have him muted, but I just saw it.
I feel like there's something cool happening in another room that we're not invited.
Yeah, fuck those guys. I don't even care. I'm staying here.
Yeah, I've used my baritone build today doing videos, and I'm like super stoked on it. The Warmouth neck is the jam.
Dude, that neck is so nice. I'm a little annoyed that I sort of messed it up a little bit. Putting the tuners in.
Well, I mean, if you
I'm
can't,
gonna get. You know what I'm gonna get. We're well off the heavy topic.
for sure.
I'm gonna get a drill press, like an $80-$90 drill press,
Mhm.
just because I think it'll make this type of thing, which I
Mhm.
know I'm gonna inevitably do more of. Like it's without a question. It'll help with widening holes for tuning pegs, just holes for little shit. So I was going to, but then I went the cheap route and just got I remember I told you I have a drill bit. Maybe I didn't tell you. I had a drill bit that I needed to use to widen the holes, but it didn't fit in the chuck of my drills.
You did.
So
Tell
I'm
me
like, I went and got one, and I found one that was the size I needed, but then also fit into
Thank
my
you.
drill. And I fucked it up because my drills don't have enough power. But you can't really tell when I put them all in and everything.
Road Bull is the truss rod adjustment at the base of the neck. Is that
Yep.
the problem? Because that tends to be the issue most people have with them.
I mean,
unless you
it's not
specify.
so much an issue, just an inconvenience,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So you really can't tell, so that's good. Let's see if I can focus in for you guys. Oh, hi.
Hello.
Oh, hi.
Yeah, that's the heel. Yeah, that makes sense. Unless you specify that you need the access at the neck when you do a custom order or at the headstock, and then they all kind of by default come that way.
Oh, you can't even tell.
No.
Yeah, I kind of fucked it up a little bit, but
It's all good.
I'm just blown away at the neck. The neck feels great. Yeah.
Anthony, if you're still watching, tell Bun to pull us into a stream since we're both streaming at the same time. He's talking about us on
Right?
his stream. Congratulations, you've received 100 messages today with Restream. Woo!
Okay. All right. Where's my fucking face? There we go.
Was,
I'm totally getting your stream demonetized. Sorry.
It's not monetized anyhow.
No.
I don't have as many followers as you. According to
right.
my thing, more than 52% of the people who regularly watch my videos have not subscribed.
Isn't that fun?
Yeah.
Isn't that a fun thing? Stream wars.
Stream wars.
Let's see who's winning.
Bun has 33. I think he's winning.
A little bit. Could be like a party if we just turn them both up, you know?
Yeah.
How are the Close the Hatch tracks coming along?
Well, they're organized. We're basically, like, the pre-production's done, and then I've been starting to write lyrics for them. We are trying to... We got everything, like, written out as far as our plan, like, our plan of action.
Yeah.
Next step is just to start re-recording the drums to replace the program stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then once that's done, then we're going to go back through all of the stuff because we basically track everything to the demo.
Yep.
Because we arrange it in the computer.
Yeah.
We did the pre-production in the computer, so it'll be tracked to the demo tracks. So then we're going to go through and decide like what can stay and what needs re-recorded or what we need to emphasize with more recording.
Right.
And the bass stuff I think is for the most part going to be completely re-recorded since Cody, the guy who's been playing he's been playing with us for about a year now, but
yeah.
He's only been playing through COVID, so I think he's actually going to re-record most of the stuff that I did, and then adding a bunch of synth stuff. It's kind of just figuring out, like, we're at a point where I have to figure out, like, how much are we going to re-record, how much of the demos are we keeping,
mm-hmm.
and then is there stuff that we can change as far as, like, get rid of things or minimalize certain things in order to give things more space.
Space?
Yeah.
What's that about?
It's kind of weird because, like, we've kind of gotten away from making things as dense. I mean, previous records, when I was just screaming, it was almost dense all the time.
Yeah.
Because it didn't matter, like, if I'm screaming. Like, it doesn't matter so much that I'm screaming that when we would play shows, sometimes I could just go, bah, and, like, it doesn't, no one fucking knows.
Right.
Even if people know the words to the songs, like, if I'm screaming, they're just me fucking screaming.
Right.
So it doesn't matter too much in that world. Not to be shitty about it, but, like, it's just the truth of it. If you went and saw Lamb of God and the entire time all Randy Bly did was make noises that kind of sounded like the record, people would still love it.
Right. He's gotten so much better, man.
Oh, without question. He's an incredible singer.
So good.
Yeah.
Oh, I think he had Close the Hatch up there.
Yeah. Yeah, he's...
What a sweet man.
It's very nice of him.
Yeah.
Just pull us in. Let us get in there.
I'm going to say, after your topics, we'd love to join you.
Yeah, I don't know. That's pretty much where we're at. I got a big lengthy conversation saved between the other guitar player and myself with a plan of action for how we're going to approach things. But for the most part, it's just we got to start knocking drums out. Then once that's done, figure out what we're doing.
Yeah.
Re-recording things is, I don't know, it's kind of weird. Like, I kind of want to retrack some stuff just with different tones.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, like, I'm still pretty okay with most of what's there. But
he's really giving your thing some love.
What's going on? I feel weird. This is
he's
a
giving
very
your
strange...
album a lot of love. It's been on the screen for 5 minutes.
But yeah,
Playing
I
some
don't wanna-
songs.
I can't play too much of these tracks, but
You guys have
really
physical
cool
copies?
material,
I have
and,
some
all
CDs left.
baritone.
A few of
And,
them.
It's Bandcamp Friday. So, bam.
You play the same guitar on all those tracks?
So yeah,
No.
Bandcamp Friday, pals.
Bandcamp Friday. Thanks, Canada. No, it's two EGCs for most of the baritone stuff, and there's a blacktop baritone Fender Tele that's on there. Two or three of the songs are in a different tuning, like an open B thing, which is we've just transferred it onto the baritone tuning now, but they were played on different guitars. So there's a Gretsch Streamliner that was used on that, a Paul Reed Smith. That would be this song Attunement, and the actual title track, Modern Witchcraft.
Oh, nice.
Those are a Gretsch, a Paul Reed Smith, and then when I did the last bit of...
he's on his different software.
Gotcha. When I did the other bit of tracking for that, it's a 70s Les Paul custom that Micah Carley had at his studio.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what's on those. And yeah, the rest of it's just pretty much that. We have, I think, at Sean's place, which we didn't really get into too much about guitars when I did this little studio tour thing, but like we have, I think, between the two of us when we were tracking stuff for closed there's usually about 5 or 6 baritones that are hanging out. He's got an ESP, like an ESP baritone. I don't know what those are called, like Horizon looking, like with the pointy headstock.
Oh yeah, the Eclipse.
Yeah,
right?
not the Les Paul looking one though, like the Super Strat looking one. I can't think what those are called, like at H something.
Oh, gotcha.
But yeah, he's got one of those, and then he's got a blacktop baritone that used to be mine that I sold him. Which amps did I use on Modern Witchcraft? I guess I'll pull that up. This is strange. Yes, the helmet guitar. I used Clean Stuff is a mixture of direct and Helix native. Very seldom though, like I think on little bits and pieces of it. For the most part, all the lighter gain stuff is a Sovtech head, a MiG 50, and a Fender Bassman, and those are kind of ran at the same time in stereo. So every time a clean thing was recorded, there was one of the Sovtech, one of the Bassman.
Nice.
And anything like moderate grit stuff was basically the same amps, and occasionally the Newell amp I have, which is a modified JCM 800. Anything that was like moderate grit stuff, like just kind of crunch stuff and not full distortion, is an OCD pedal. And I used a fucking Ampeg Scrambler pedal, which is a bass overdrive.
Yep.
Yeah, I used one of those on the guitar tracks for moderate grit, but more so because it has the EQ is active in it, so you can kind of dial some shit out without it really fucking with things bad. So I use that, and then the primary distortion on that record is a Hilbish PB10, which is a clone of a Sun Beta lead.
Nice.
And that's just running with a Crown 1502, which is like a 1500 watt power amp, but I run it one side of it, so technically it's like 300 watts on that side, but I'm not barely running it.
Right.
That one power amp I could run like 5 cabs off of. It's pretty wild.
Imagine.
Yeah, I've ran 2 412s off of it at the same time, and it's huge sounding in it. There's no problems, but it's that, and all the sub distortion stuff is the the bass octaver that was in the HX effects, which is
Mhm.
also in Helix and whatnot. It was in the pod, like the old school one,
Yep.
and it just sounds good with that particular set of things. It's not very controllable, but that's kind of why I like it.
Yeah. 5 4x12s. Yeah.
It's
Be the bane of whatever sound engineer.
dude, if you watch that video of us going through the studio at Sean's place, he bought a cab off of me that was an Omega cab, which he kind of talks about in the video, but it's a 512 115 cabinet.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
512 115.
I got it for stupid cheap. We were touring, and a guy had it for sale in Chicago. He only wanted like $500 for it, and it's like a fucking $2,000 custom cabinet.
What's the purpose of that? Is that for bass?
It's a guitar cabinet.
Good.
And I got it, and I was like, this is super cool. And then we used it for that tour, and I was like, yeah, this thing could go fuck itself.
Yeah, well, yeah, because lugging that fucker around.
It was too much. It also blew up a power amp I was traveling with at the time.
Yeah.
Because it drains power in such a strange way. It's rated at like up to 1,000 watts, but like it just was.
The ohms were probably weird.
That was fucking wild. So yeah, it sounds great, and we use it to record with all the time because it's got a bunch of different speakers in it.
Yeah.
So you can mic it in a bunch of different ways, and you don't have to deal with as much phasing issues, and you get a bunch of different tone.
Now, I did like when I was playing bass in a band, like I had a Sonic 18 2x10, and that thing was sick, man. It was so loud. You got that low end from the big speaker, and then that punch and the chime from those 10s. But my Ampeg at the time, first of all, at least for a while there, Ampegs were not reliable. I don't know what the deal is now, but I had like I don't remember what it was. It was some weird SVT number. It was the tone section was all tube, but the power section I think was solid state. It was like the
Tube bass preamp.
SVT6 or some shit like that. It was something weird. It was a thinner one, but it was loud and it sounded great. But I started having weird output issues with it. Luckily, it was towards the end of the band's run and everything. But when that setup was working, it was super dope.
The dude who was playing with us prior in Close Hatch, Josh, when he was playing bass for us, he had bought an amp like the newer Ampeg 610, which is significantly smaller than the 810. Even though there's only two different speakers, it's literally like a quarter of the size. It's fucking wild. And sounds so much better than the 810, which was freaking me out. But like, yeah, it's crazy. We have an Ampeg Classic at home from the Kitty crew, and it's the heaviest.
It's a 3 or 4?
I think it's a 3.
Yeah.
It's heavy as fuck, like physically a beast.
Yeah. Mine wasn't even it was, I think the 3 is like whatever considered full. Mine was half of that, and it was still heavy.
Oh yeah.
My best buddy Dave has I think a 3, and it's just, the thing is gnarly. The classics are cool, but again, I think there was a chunk of time where they just weren't reliable at all. Like, there was a local Ampeg guy, repair dude in Milwaukee. He was always swamped. Always. Like, I could never get my thing in there. He's like, yeah, you can drop it off. It's going to be here for 3 months. Like, well, fuck me.
We had
now I don't think I would even do that. If I ever end up playing bass, I'm just going to get a huge power amp and run the Helix or the Stomp through it.
That would be my solution as well.
Because I do like stage sound, so I would like something on the stage. Of course, everybody's like, the point of having something like the Helix is so you don't have to lug shit around. But I don't know. I like moving air.
Well, if you can have all that, flexibility and still have the cabinet. I still use a cabinet with the Helix for rehearsal right now.
Yeah,
I plan to live as well.
It's just nice having something on there, and like, I don't know.
Most venues I'm playing are shitty, so it's not like
Correct.
I
They're
can't
not
like
gonna
be
have,
like the
great
PA is
sounds.
not going to be amazing.
Yes,
Like
exactly.
Sean, who plays with us in Close the Hatch, he had a Kemper for a while, like when they were brand new. He bought like the toastery one with the power amp built into it,
Yep.
and
Probably still needed a cab, huh?
he did use a cab. But his whole thing was is like he got it so when we play places, he wouldn't have to use a cabinet. And then not one time in the 2 years he owned it did we ever not have to have a cabinet. So
Yeah, it's funny. 13 Flaws. I still have it around here somewhere. I built this box to make it look like an amp and put the rack in it. Like I put the corners on, I put a handle on top. And I think Sweetwater even sells one that looks like a slant. It's got the slant top on for the amp. You can just put your Helix in there or, Axe Effects or whatever. And then a power amp, and it looks like an amp. You can carry it around and put it on top of a cab. But yeah, I mean, I've practiced with the band using the Helix into the Duncan Power Stage, into a 2x12, and then into a 4x12, and it was plenty loud enough. It's 170 watt. It's plenty loud enough.
that's
Now
why I
they
use
have
a
like
rehearsal as well.
300 watt one, which is like, that's gonna be loud. Solid state, you can get away with having lower watts.
Yeah, it's weird. I've played with a two power amp with the previous generation pods and stuff, and it was great. There was a theory that I would push as a theory. It is not reality for me. That the tubes do something to improve the vibe of it because it's going through tubes before it hits the thing. It doesn't fucking sound any different. It just takes longer to work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that would work too. The environment we're in, we rehearse in that studio that I did the tour of, so there's a shit ton of cabinets. So I basically just pick a cabinet, and that's what I use for rehearsal. So wherever I am in the room when we set up, that's the cabinet I use. And
Yeah, that's nice too. Like, you could even, if you want to do some sort of like, I mean, your drummer's still going to be making all sorts of shit noise, but like, you could set up a Helix system with your other bandmates where you guys are pretty much playing silently. All you're hearing is the drums.
yeah,
Which saves everybody's ears.
since Meshuggah writes records basically that way, they run Axe Effects through a headphone setup, and then Hayek plays on a V drum kit.
Yeah, I mean, imagine that.
It's just some guy like.
Yeah, you just
Like
hear
there's-
clack, 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 clack. Well, I mean, not in Meshuggah practice, but like, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I borrowed my buddy's V drum kit for a while, and we had it down here, and I loved having it. I would love to have one. I know we talked about this before. I know you used to have one, but I would just love to have one because there's times where I'm like, would just love to get a groove right enough, And plus, like, I do miss playing drums. I played a long time ago, not a ton, but like, it's enjoyable. It'd be fun to do.
Yeah. We've talked about this with Bun. Like, Bun plays drums. I can play drums.
Yeah.
My wife clearly plays drums. Like, this is what she did for a living for 20 years.
I think it's good, man, when and the fact that she plays drums and now plays guitar primarily, it's like that helps. If you have a sense of rhythm and then on top of that you're playing guitar or bass, I think it goes a long way.
Yeah. I think for her, it also helps with her writing because she knows, like, I can definitely play exactly the idea I have in my head.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, man, I
Yeah.
had the V drum kit and the first two Close the Hatch EPs I played drums on, with the exception of one song, which Dan, who was the original drummer, played on. But it actually was kind of cool because if I had an idea, like I can kind of etch out the idea on pads.
Yeah, that's how I've been doing it now.
But
since
like,
I got the little atom.
For sure, the finesse of fills and stuff doesn't exist on pads.
Yeah, correct.
And like when I work on pads, I start with the kick and the snare pattern, and then I do everything else.
Same.
So it's not the best way to do things, but it still works.
Yeah,
But
you're losing a little bit of vibe.
yeah, so having the actual drum kit, I can literally play it. And the other thing is like I can just put things on a loop and play it until I know what I want to do.
Yeah, man, yeah.
And that would be how I write things like on those two records. That's how I wrote those entire two records because I would just like, okay, I have this riff, I'll play along to it, but if I improvise a fill or some sort of feel thing, I can re-record the guitar around it, like and
Yeah.
emphasize the feel.
Yeah.
So it actually does help. I don't know. I think personal stuff. I haven't gotten my tax return yet. I haven't gotten any of those sweet Biden bucks, and I haven't gotten the second stimulus. So, second stimulus or the third stimulus, I have yet to be stimulated again. So, if I get any of that stuff, my plan was to buy one of the cheaper Elisa's kits.
Dude, those kits are stellar.
Yeah, they're great.
The cheap ones are so good. I played one at NAMM when they came out with this affordable line a couple years ago, and Ryan he was at the time he was in Devin Townsend's band, and he was working from Ro plays everything on an E-drum kit going into his Superior kit that he builds, and that's the kit. Those are the drums that go onto the albums. It's his Superior kit that he built.
So a lot of early Periphery was done that way too.
Yep. Yeah.
But when they first got Matt Halpern playing with him, they re-recorded that first record with him on V drums.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's video of it. I don't know if they actually eventually went and re-recorded it entirely with real drums, but there's video of him playing the whole record on V drums.
That's sick, man. I mean,
I got no issue with it because
no, he's still playing it.
you're playing it, and if like I've talked to my wife about this because I think coming from the world of being purely a drummer, there is a disconnect in how that functions. And first of all, there's clearly a feel difference, physical feel and resonance difference in playing a V drum kit and a real kit.
Yep.
Because you can physically feel vibrations coming off of the drums. Mm-hmm. It's a different tactile thing. Yep. However, if I'm miking a drum and I use a 57 on the snare, top, bottom, whatever, and I recorded it 44.1, and it's at 24 bits, and I record you hitting that drum X amount of times at different velocities, and then my wife is hot, my wife who is watching, and then if you go through and you do the same thing using a digital kit or a virtual kit that was recorded in exactly the same fashion with the exact same instruments, the same microphones at the same velocities. The thing is arguably, the digital world is more versatile than the physical realm there, because in no instance are you, like, each drum has, like, what is it, 212 velocity measures, or at least 170 something.
Yeah.
But at no point, no matter what you're doing as a human being playing the drums,
can you like narrow in?
Are you going to be like, well, that one is clearly at 120.
Yeah, let me go number 8.
Yeah, I need to like dial that back to an 80 VP on that. Like, I need to drop my velocity down to, like, it's not humanly possible.
Right.
So it's actually more versatile, but it's not the same. It doesn't feel the same playing it, and it's not as fun. I get it.
Well, I mean, you can have the best of both worlds where, I mean, I'm sure she played with triggers at some point. Like, you can trigger the triggers nowadays are ridiculous. So you can trigger all your acoustic drums and send it right into Superior. And then you have, I mean, then you have infinite flexibility because you can still mic drums.
Yep. I've recorded bands that way. Because their drummers were shitty. And B, it gave me more versatility. And when you're recording metal bands, particularly in the era that triggers became huge, which was like the beginning of the breakdown metal thing.
Yep.
Everyone wanted that.
It was literally just like a slap for a kick.
Yeah, like click or snap. Have a good night, Anthony.
Later, man.
But anyways, like, I would do it that way because they wanted it to sound that way. But it also allowed me to do things with quantization that are a lot more
for sure
difficult.
Yeah, especially if you have a a novice of a drummer.
Well,
You
that's the
just
other thing is like,
Control A, quantize. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Humanize it so it doesn't land on the grid. Yeah.
yeah,
for sure.
I've done literally that with actual band recordings, and I won't hurt anyone's feelings, but and I've also recorded with guys that are just good enough that you don't need it.
Yeah.
The other thing is that if the drum kit you're recording sounds great, if the mics you're using capture it in a way that's great, the room is great, you really don't need all that shit. If the person plays consistently and hits consistently with similar velocity each time, and you've got all the right ingredients, you shouldn't need much. Like, it shouldn't take even much EQing or compression at all to make it sound good if the person is great and the instrument itself is great.
Right. Well, and then there's also like we live in a weird, we're in a weird spot where it's like we do a lot of our own recording, and I mean I've been real open about this. I know dick about drums, recording wise. I mean I know the fundamentals. If I was like, hey man, mic up this drum set and let's record something, I think I could do it, and it may sound good, but doing all that and then getting a proper mix, it's a whole nother story,
Yeah,
my
it's the
wife-
same.
I was gonna say my wife likes your wife's nose ring, and she's like, I can't pull that off. Tony's like, I want a nose ring, but it's just gonna look like I have a booger hanging out my nose.
Well, if you get those
She
nose
was-
rings that look like boogers, then yes.
She was like, am I too old to get a nose ring? Like, would people think I'm having some sort of crisis? I'm like, no.
No one that gives a shit.
I said, what do you care? This is the discussions we were having while we were listening to the podcast when we were driving across country. She's
Dude.
like, see, I like her nose ring. Sometimes on some girls it looks like trash.
My wife looks beautiful. I got no complaints with her nose holes.
It's going to be a shocker when she takes her beanie off one day and it turns out she's bald up there.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah. I mean, I'm bald.
Right,
Who am
no,
I?
you'd be a
Who am
perfect
I to
pair.
judge?
I'm balding too. That's why I wear this hat all the time.
Just embrace it. Fuck it.
I haven't been able to. Yeah, I'm. It's totally male pattern. But here's we're not talking about guitars right now. Here's the thing, man. I don't know if you guys can tell. Everybody can tell. I'm a hairy motherfucker, and then I'm gonna get male pattern baldness. That's mean.
Mean.
Like I was a teenager and I had a hairy butt, and now I'm losing my hair. What the fuck, man?
Oh, boy.
That's heavy.
It is heavy. That's some existential
Bro, you're
shit.
rocking TikTok now?
Yeah, I'm on there. You haven't seen my stupid TikToks?
I have never installed TikTok on any of my devices. I'm afraid.
Miles made me do it.
Oh, it's Christina's fault I don't get on TikTok.
Yeah, Christina P.
Yeah, I can't. I can't. Like I say, I try to be an optimist about the human condition and the human race.
Well,
Half
you
the
can
time-
what you can do is you can go on there and then you can feel great about yourself.
No.
No.
I think I would want to play some sort of character. I'd want to go down some sort of lane. Yes, I listened to that album of the band you have the shirt on. It's good.
What's the Blackcraft Cult?
Yeah. Isn't that the band you shared with me the other day?
No, that's the Ocean. This just happens to look similar to their record.
Oh, it looks like that cover, yeah.
Yeah. The Ocean's fucking brilliant. All those records are brilliant.
I did shave my arm once as a teenager, and I got made fun of profusely by my stepdad and my parents. Actually, everybody in my household, because I just did a strip. Like, what the fuck, man? What'd you do?
When I was, I think, like 19, I decided that I was going to shave everything. Like, everything I could reach with the fucking razor. Everything. My face, my head, with the exception of my eyebrows. And I just like, cool, I'm going in full bald. And then, like...
I got this story beat.
Good.
Keep going.
The girl I was dating at the time, I, like, woke her up. I was like, look. And she's like, what the fuck did you do? And
She's
I
like,
was
that's
like,
a shock to the
well, I was
system,
just
man.
like trying to, be less hairy. And she's like, you look like a fat baby. So, uh,
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
and then you get like, sorry,
No, keep
then
going.
no one like if you get stubble like on your head or if you like shave a part of your face,
Dude, stubble
your
everywhere
whole
else
body
is like
gets
weird.
it.
It's
Yeah.
weird. Why do I know that? Because a follow-up story to your story. One time, being ultra self-conscious about how incredibly hairy I am. Like, I mean, it's insane. You can't. Oh, see, it's not gonna do it justice. But like, oh, that's
A
true.
solar panel for my sex machine.
I was like, you know what?
That's awesome.
With the girl I was with at the time, I'm like,
Shave.
she would say stuff about the chafe. Yeah, she would say stuff about my hairy shoulders and my back. I'm like, let's nair it then. Let's just nair it.
Oh, that's a bad
Well,
idea.
let me tell you what. First of all, that's a process.
Yeah,
And
it burns.
yeah, it's basically burning your hair off, so it
Yeah.
smells like burning hair. I'm familiar with the smell of burning hair because I was a stupid teenager. I don't know if you guys know what burning hair smells like, but it's not appetizing. And so it was like 2 hours of just trying to nair this hair off because once you start, you can't stop. And then ruining the plumbing in that apartment because think about it.
Oh, I get it.
And then, yes. So then you're like, cool, this is great. And you have that one night of like, yeah, all right, okay. But then
Yeah,
after
if
that,
someone
you turn
busts
into
out a slip and
Velcro, man.
slide.
You turn into fucking Velcro after that.
Yeah.
Everything's
I mean, I'm
sticking
fucking
to
hairy
you.
as shit. I get it.
Yeah, see, I think we have the same issue.
Yeah, we're very cool.
Yeah, I mean, all jokes aside, I don't give a shit anymore. Just the male pattern baldness thing always annoys me a little bit. Like, it's fine. And I'm growing hair out because COVID and whatever. I don't care. But it's like, really, man? I was always like, really?
Dude, if my hair never grew back on my head ever, I would be happier. It's a pain in the ass having to shave it every couple of days.
No, man, I have bicked my head before, but because of my personality and when I have a really thick beard, my kids are like, man, you are just too intimidating and scary when you shave your head. Like, people are gonna think things about you. And I'm like, yeah, I know.
Tell
It's
you
kind of
funny-
cool, but also I don't
Nah.
want to be grouped in with,
So the first time I ever shaved my head with a straight razor, I
Yeah.
went to a buddy of mine's house, and as soon as I walked in, his dad, like, looked up and he was like did the Nazi salute. I was
Oh,
like, what
boy.
the fuck? And he's like, what did you do to yourself? I was like, I shaved my head.
It's a pretty common thing, man. Doesn't
And he
mean
was
I'm
like-
a Nazi.
He's like, yeah, it's a cool skinhead look you got. I was like, I'm losing my hair. It has nothing to do with that. What is up, Aaron? He's working on his stupid
Working
amp.
on your amp.
What's wrong with your amp?
Yeah, what happened, man? How'd your jam session go last night?
Sorry, I gotta take these things out for a minute. They're killing me.
Yeah. Don't you
Alright.
got some cans in there?
I didn't bring them with me this time. I want to try to use the AirPods and see if that helps, but I'm afraid there's going to be latency
I've used the AirPods plenty of times.
for this.
Yeah,
Well, we'll try it out.
do it. I want to freaking, damn it.
Connect.
I want to solder my guitar together. Sounds like it's working.
Would you like to choose? No. Is it working?
Yeah. I can hear you.
Okay. You can. Is it still this though?
Yeah.
Let me see. What
But-
happens. AirPods. There. What now?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Is it, whoa,
Okay.
that's how they sound?
Yeah.
Wait, you can still use the mic? And then
Yeah, I'm using
listen
this mic.
on the AirPods?
Mhm.
Why wouldn't you just keep it on the mic?
I don't know. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
They sound better.
Hold
It
on.
sounds better. This sounds fine. Like if Sounds fine. You do what you want, man. This is your stream. I'm just hanging out.
It's the audio output I want to change, and that's the part that's being weird.
No, it sounds fine. You're good. It's good.
Okay.
It's working.
All right.
I farted. Sorry.
The AirPods crashed the stream. It seems to be
No, it
working
didn't.
fine.
He's a liar. I wish you weren't a liar. What else? Heavy stuff.
Low gain is heavy with,
Yeah. Yeah,
Nice.
you're right, Aaron.
of course.
Yeah. Aaron's last release, you know? Some drudging stuff. And it's heavy.
I like the guitar tones you get, Aaron.
I told him that yesterday, man.
Yeah, I tried to catch you like right as you responded to me yesterday, Aaron. You left a comment on my YouTube channel, and then I immediately responded, hoping you would catch it because I was like, hey, "I'll be on here tomorrow." All good though. You're here now. Yeah, I don't know if you like. I think it's sometimes less. Like most good tones don't have a ton of gain on them. Even heavier stuff doesn't. Working with Byzantine in the studio on, I think it was their second record, Taking Up Serpents. That whole record is it's a 5150, but it's the crunch channel, not the high gain channel. And it's everything at noon, like across the board, and
Yep.
then just a tube screamer in front of it. That's like, but that
I
record
think
sounds
that's
great.
what Gojira was doing, but they were using EVHs.
Right.
Or are using EVHs?
The EVH 5150.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same
I
thing.
mean, it works fine. You don't have to do a whole lot with it, and it's really balanced.
It doesn't really work that way in the Helix, I've noticed.
No, not at all. It also doesn't work that way in even the Gojira
No.
plugin that just came out.
Right.
If you set it at noon, it doesn't sound the same as if it
No,
was the
it
real
doesn't.
amp. It sounds great. It's great. It's with the right IR, you can very easily duplicate what that plugin does.
I hate that I'm so stuck on the badunk all the time. I wish I could. I was telling Aaron this too. I wish I could get a lower gain tone like you guys have and like Aaron has in his tracks, and I'm just not good at dialing that in. I'm sure I put some effort into it, which I will at some point. But there's
I
an
use the-
art to it for sure.
I've been using the Friedman amp pretty much as my primary ever since I got the Helix because I like Friedman amps.
Yep.
In real life.
Mm-hmm.
I don't do a ton to it. The trick with it is to like basically use the BE thing, which adds the added gain section to it.
Yep.
Turn that on and then drop the actual gain of the amp down to like 3.
Mm-hmm.
And then put an overdrive in front of it, and then you get a lot more control out of it that way, and it's still plenty heavy. I figured that out because Bill from Mastodon had a free, and I think it's paid now, but had a downloadable Helix tone that he created as a backup thing because he has a signature Friedman amp. Bill does. But when he's doing guitar clinics and as a backup, he uses the Helix rack, and he made stuff that's similar to what he would use in real life.
Yeah. I think I remember that. And then I forgot and then couldn't ever figure out where it was or some shit.
It's on their store thing, the Helix download store. You can get to it through your the HX Edit. You can get to it.
Oh, okay, cool.
And it's I think it's $10 now, which is still reasonable, and it's like four snapshots.
Yeah.
But yeah, I use it all the time.
I used the Angle before, the Angel or whatever they call it.
Yeah.
I used it a ton in the POD HD 500, but that was another one where I had like the gain at 3 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And when I first got the 8 with the Helix, I jumped right into that too with the gain at like 2.5, 3. But certain. Use a gain block. There's a pad in the Helix I would probably, if it's your primary guitar.
Yeah, you can do that. If you go into global settings, there's a pad that you can set, and it'll drop it down a bit. Yep, it's exactly for that. It's in the global settings. It's. I'm sure if you Google it, it just says pad. But yeah, I dropped it down in general. I use it that way all the time, and I don't use high output pickups just because it makes my levels more controlled.
Dude, I bet that's so key to your sounds too. Interesting. I was gonna say if I had EMGs or some shit like that, I think the point of that is to get that clip on. That's part of the sound of an active pickup, is to get that clip. So I wouldn't personally.
It recommends it in the manual if you're using active pickup. Yeah.
I don't do it for the Fishmans. Maybe they're not as hot as the EMGs.
They may not be. I don't. The preamp in the EMGs is pretty loud. I would try it and just see if you get better results.
Absolutely.
I do it even with passive.
Play with it
because it gives me a more controlled level.
Yeah.
And that way I have more headroom to like add more shit and build on top of it gain wise, or even adding volume or whatever in any way without it going crazy. Yeah. And it keeps my levels even going into the DAW too. So it's worth fucking with. I did that because one of those Helix dudes that has like a big following on YouTube mentioned it in a video.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, I'll give it a shot. It works great for bass stuff too, because I usually use pads with bass, just to keep things, because natural compression with bass gets weird.
Yep.
So it works well, man.
Yeah, I always find I have to. My Squier bass, because it's got the active. Well, they both have it now. Shit, I have to dial that back a tad at some points. The Court has an active that was a Bartolini active preamp section, and I find I have to give it a little bit more. I really kind of have to up it a little bit, which is interesting.
I usually, because I don't know how you run your Helix. I don't use my Helix as an interface unless I'm traveling.
I don't.
People
think I'm an idiot because I run my Helix into my interface as if I look at the Helix as I have all these amps and I'm going to mic up a cab and those mics are going into my interface.
That's what I do.
Because
have a line that's permanently attached to the interface from the
Yep. Actually, I'm going SPDIF now, but because I commit to my tones, I'm not a DI guy, just not my thing. And yeah, I rather have a proper interface because I mic acoustics, I have vocal, I put background vocals on one of the Wells tracks, I do shit all the time. Like, I'd rather have that flexibility and just treat my Helix like it's my amp, Yeah, because it's not, it's if you need an interface, it's great. Like on the Mac upstairs, when I have the Stomp up there, I use it as the interface.
Yeah,
but that's my mobile rig,
Right. I've used the Stomp as an interface. I have my LT with me at the moment traveling, and I use different interface today working on a video, but just because it's convenient. But when I'm at home, I never use it as an interface at all because I have a Quantum. I have a nice interface. And I also...
No, Aaron.
They're fucking weird to interact with.
They are.
Actually, I know...
They're too big for their bridge. It's because they're Yamaha.
Yeah, well, there's that. Like, I know Ben Adrian. I've been friends with him through the internets, through like MySpace days. And he'll still chat with me and stuff. Like, he used to make a pedal called the Bunny Drive. And it's
I remember that.
Yeah, it's in Helix, but it's called something else now. It's called the Kowloon Drive because the guy's in Kowloon City. used it, and he just called it that when he put it in Helix. And what is that? The derailed Ingrid or whatever.
Oh yeah,
One
yeah.
of those. That's his one of his actual amps. Yeah, they're weird company. Anyways, I got off what I was getting at. I forgot what I was going to say. Oh well. I don't know, man. I also feel like, I know what I was going to say. Running the Helix that way and committing to the tones is cool. The other part of it is that you're taking up less processing power in the computer by just tracking.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
Yes,
Because
Kowloon Wild Bunny.
that's the other thing is because of this setup. So I'm monitoring through the interface. There's no latency between the Helix going into an interface. There's no
Exactly.
latency. I can run my block size full to the biggest block size, which allows me to start my mixes like halfway into my tracks, like I will get a rough idea down and I'll start throwing effects on to get the vibe of what's going on. I don't need to worry about latency at all. Like if I want to, it's not a thing. And then I can open up a full mix with all the plugins, and if I want to layer a guitar, which I do all the time, like it's not an issue. I don't need to worry about latency.
No, it's just.
And that's another reason why I'm not a plugin kind of guy as far as guitars go. Like it's just not my jam. I appreciate that you can pull up a plugin on your computer with a super affordable interface and play guitar and get great tones, but I'm just not like it's not. I'd rather commit to a sound, even if it's not the perfect tone. It's got character. It's got a character I want. I can mix well enough at this point to like get anything unfavorable out of it. And I don't know, man. If you have the opportunity to tinker, I feel like you do, and then that takes away from what you're actually trying to do, which is make fucking music.
I agree.
So, and I spent plenty of time doing that. The IR rabbit hole, plugins, tones, DI. I got rid of it all. I stopped tracking DIs. I used to do simultaneous tracking because I used to create. You can create. It's not called an aggregate device on PC, but you can use the Audio for All driver and mix two interfaces, so I could still track and do DIs. But then I never went back and used the DIs. And if I did, like, I didn't want to sit there. If I would sit there and come up with a tone and then re-record, I'm like, cool, listening. And I'd be listening and like, that's not right. And then I'd fuck with it more and then go record the DI again through the amp. And then, like, it was too much. And it was taken away from the point of, like, me trying to get some ideas done. So I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm going to commit to these tones. Fuck it. So.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I use DIs when hey, Turbo Plasma Chicken.
What's up, brother?
I used DIs when I did that the video comparing the two mics a while ago.
Yeah.
SM7B and the PD70.
Yes.
The part where I was miking the guitar cabinet, I recorded a DI out of the Helix, or it was the Podgo, I believe, at the time. Because I was borrowing it to do a video. And I recorded that, and then I recorded a DI out, because you can do that through the USB. Like, using it as an interface, you can tell it. I think it's like inputs 5 and 6. It
Yep.
designates as a passive DI. I used that, and then we ran those back through some plugins and stuff to do that. And I don't feel like it had the same feel as if it had not been done that way. Like if I would have just played it straight out of the Helix or whatever, it would have been better.
Yeah.
I wanted it to be exactly the same. Like instead of me playing the part twice, like I wanted it to literally be the
I
same.
totally get that. I've done that too. But then I've also done videos where I just played it, the different things, and nobody can tell. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. Dude, it's. I mean, it all works, and I know
it does.
Like buddies that are like whenever if I recorded with Mike at his studio, he always DIs everything, but he runs a DI simultaneously tracking real amps, and records the DI at the same time, but he's also running the DI through like a tube-based preamp, so it's getting a
Right.
bigger boost and keeping some natural vibe to it, but almost never used. Like, it's there. If I'm like, yo, I don't like that guitar tone, like when we get to the final bit, like I'd be like, let's try something else.
Mm-hmm.
But we've never used it. Bass, for sure, we use DI quite a bit. Well, we're thinking the same thing, 13 Flaws. I use DI for bass occasionally if I'm actually doing like a full production recording, but if it's at home or if it's for my own use, I usually will record one kind of a cleaner sound and then one dirtier. But I also run everything in parallel inside of Helix, so I've got both going on in one track. So
Yeah. I used to do that as well, but then I came up with bass tones and Helix where I'm not technically running a parallel chain, but I'm running into that dark less pedal where there's a mix, which is you're kind of running parallel.
yeah,
And I got such a
processing
good
the level.
tone right there. I'm like, I don't need to do 2 tracks anymore, I don't think. Now, the argument can be made that I could probably get a better tone if I split it up, like a lot of people see other people doing when it comes to metal bass. I know it's definitely a thing to do, you know, on like Ultimate Recording Machine and shit like that. Like, I get it. It's been done forever by tons of, you know, production engineers and producers.
Yeah.
I'm not any better than them, but if I find a tone and I'm like, no, you know what, this is good, and I don't feel like I'm settling, that's what I do, and that's what I've been doing on basically since I got the Helix. Before the Helix, I split, you know, I would do 2, duplicate it.
Agreed. I agree with you, Roadbull.
What do you say?
He said that if he doesn't like DIs, and if the DIs sound better than your tone, you've got some work to do. Agreed. I can answer this question since it's
Yes.
you're on the stream. So well, we can be funny about this, and like I'll tell you, the first track, they're both vocally, they're both the PD-70. I've just been using it since I have it now, and it sounds great. It sounds like the 7B. I actually kinda
Almost
prefer it over this.
indistinguishable.
Yeah, there's some.
A little
If you
more
actually look at
presence in this.
Yeah, if you look at the actual like frequency response grid, there's a slight bit of difference in the high end, and that the SM7B peaks and valleys there,
Yep.
and the
Yeah, I'm a nerd. I've
PD-70 is
compared 'em.
rounded off. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyhow, so yeah, that's what I used on the track. And on those tracks, one of those songs I recorded at my friend's kitchen table while I was house sitting, and had to keep stopping pretty frequently because his dogs were being loud. And then the screaming portions of that I did in the bathroom at his house, so I wouldn't freak the dogs out further. And let's see, the other one I did at home, like just in the room you see me doing videos on normally, when I'm not in the Ohio area.
Yeah.
I did it there, just standing in front of the computer, and because the PD-70 is similar enough to the 7B that I've been actually using the Fathead with it, but it's still a little bit. I use it less on the preamp gain. Like I don't have to turn it up as much, but it's more controlled that way for some reason. I use that. I sent Nick 3 takes of everything, so.
Yeah, and I think I actually used everything you sent me to some degree.
Yeah. So I sent, I think, 2 affected and 1 clean of each, or 2 clean and 1 affected, depending on the section. And then I did some stuff, plugins with that. I'm using, for my reverb stuff, I was using, I have to pull it up. Valhalla.
Yeah. Which one?
The room reverb one and the shimmer verb.
Okay. Yeah.
I use those, and then there's a preset in Easy Mix 2 that I always use on everything I do. It's called like Distorted Poltergeist.
Yep. That's that gnarly track.
Yeah, and I use it combined with a bit crusher and a couple other things, a compressor and reverbs, just to have like super fucked up, nasty sounds.
Yeah, those blend well.
Yeah.
I like that you did that. That was yeah, man. It it made my job fucking easy because I really didn't do a ton. I just kind of, you know, obviously with those guitars, there were some clashes, so I rolled off some high end on the guitar a little bit, and you know,
Hmm.
got some sibilant stuff under control. But and then it was just basically just some panning and some leveling, compression with all the layers because I liked all the layers. I kind of wanted them there, so did some compression on the tracks, did some compression on the buses. Like I grouped everything. I can show this in a stream one day where I grouped like your clean vocals, and
Hmm.
I had those like I treated those individually and then treated them on the bus a little bit. Like just kind of stepping. I'm learning and trying to get better at like not using one compressor to compress the whole thing. Like to
Hmm.
do it incrementally. Like do a little bit of compression on the single tracks and then do a little bit more compression on the bus,
Hmm.
and it kind of is a little bit more natural feeling, I guess. I don't know, man. If it works, it works. So like, I don't really know what the fuck I'm doing all the time. I've just
Some of it I try. I mean, like I've been doing it a while, but I still try to approach it more so with my ear than the visual
same,
element.
yeah,
Uh,
same. Um,
is this going on during Fun's stream as well? Yes.
no,
Yes,
this isn't
Barry.
happening right now.
Uh,
You're in the twilight zone.
you
But
basically just have to decide, who's cooler. No, I mean you go wherever you want to go, dude. It's fine. We tried to get in on Bun's action, but he is on a different system.
yeah, so I
Uh,
still did top down mixing on the track, um,
hmm.
which actually probably lent it to be more. When I mix my shit, I just didn't think about vocalists because that's what I have been doing for so long. So I had to definitely do a little bit of adjusting, and all I did was just basically give myself more headroom. But I still did top down. It's probably why I needed to cut a little bit of semblance out of some of the harsh tracks. But I also Steven had some cool reverb. Did you have some delay on some of that?
Hmm.
Yeah, so he had Steve. I mean, it fits his voice perfectly with the delay and the reverb, with like that kind of washed out sound. I mean, you can hear it all over the close the hatch stuff. Like, I wanted that too, so I put even more delay. There's quarter delay, there's eighth delay, and there's reverb on all the shit, even the stuff you sent me. And I thought it sounded cool. You know?
Yeah, sounds good. It turned out great.
Yeah, it did. Turned out fucking awesome, in my opinion.
Yeah,
There's a
I
shitload
I
of
get
layering on those tracks.
for sure. I mean, there was layering in just the portion I did, so I'm fairly certain there was a lot on your end.
Both
Uh,
vocals and guitars. I mean, there's a shitload of everything. And I even on Deny Yourself, I not that it needed it, but because I'm like I wanted to fuck around, so I on the chorus I did background vocals too. They're tucked in under there. You can probably hear it if you really listen. But I can't sing great. I I have to really work at it to get decent. So, but it sounded
I
like it needed a group there, you know?
Yeah, it's I always fake them. Like I don't know. I figure like I was worried about that when I was doing it actually, since we're talking about it, which is
Yeah.
cool. Um, Also, it's on Bandcamp. Uh,
Yeah, I should probably I
yeah.
could share it.
If
Let me
you
pull
send
it
me
up.
the link in the private chat, I'll put it in the
Yep.
thing. Um, Anyhow, yeah, I'm weird about that shit because I have things that I kind of use almost as a crutch when I'm recording stuff for vocals that just make me feel comfortable. So some of it's
Sure.
basic reverb shit, but also I like super atmospheric stuff. I like things to be kind of weird and
Same, same,
ghostly.
same. Mm-hmm.
Um, so it was I was uncertain of it when I was doing it, as to whether you would keep any of that stuff, um, because I was just kind of doing it in a way that was comfortable for me.
That's sort of what I figured, but it worked out because I think I used that track for the main up the middle, And because you gave me enough layers, I did some panning, and the gnarly track is in there too. And on some of your screams, and I don't know, I took a little bit of liberty. Like I duplicated one of the tracks and pitched it down a fifth, and kind of tucked it underneath there too. Just mainly so when it echoed, because I threw some echo, obviously, it just sounded. I don't know. The tracks felt haunting and scary, and I love the washiness of the vocals. So I was like, yeah, let's fucking go deep with this shit, you know?
Yeah, I was kind of hoping that because that was the only thing. Like when I was tracking it, that I was like the screams are dry, but I left them alone kind of on purpose. I did put some dirt on one of them. Um,
Everything you
Turbo,
did
yes.
worked out well.
Yeah, I have used Helix for a vocal chain. I use Helix native when I do that. I don't use the actual physical one. But I've done that for harmonies. Like if I want just a cheap digital sounding harmony without having to go through a bunch of trouble, especially if it's going to be buried, then I'll just go in the simple harmony thing and pick the fifth or whatever. So
You
yes.
sang a harmony on one of them though, right? You sang that one.
Yeah, I usually like do higher stuff
Yeah.
on top of things.
Yeah.
So the stems that you sent had effects Steven added, embedded, as opposed to sharing the project having access. But correct.
Yep.
We don't have.
He
I'm sure we have
bounced.
some of the same plugins, but we're using a different system. So
Yeah.
he was recording in Studio One. My portion was recorded in Logic, which I am using Studio One a little bit more now. So it'll probably be easier in the future.
I mean, shit, this was fun. Like, really, when it comes to this kind of thing, as long as you know how to bounce properly, it doesn't matter what DAW you're collaborating with, you know?
Right.
Like,
I
as
cleaned
long
up
as you're
a lot of
starting
stuff.
at the same part. Yeah.
Right.
And I
through
figured
it.
you would. I figured
Yeah.
you'd want to send something you were comfortable with, and yeah, and I was anticipating, because you're into this shit too. I was anticipating some like produced tracks, you know, to some degree with effects, and I was like, fucking A, it just makes it easier for me. And it's cool to hear, like, I'm not a vocalist, you know? Why would I make all those decisions? So it was a way for us to sort of collab more than it was, instead of you just singing on it. And,
Right.
you know, hopefully the next Well stuff, you know, after your Close the Hatch stuff, we can actually write together.
Right. Yeah. 13 flaws to further answer your question. I usually, and what the fuck was that? Something just fell in here. Not my house. Anyway. Anyways, I intentionally sent him stuff that was unaffected too, like in the assumption that if he didn't like the effects I chose, he could at least see the direction I had in mind for my approach.
Yep.
And then he could do it on his end. But yeah, we didn't have the same shit, but that's fine. I think that honestly just lends itself to more creativity because he can do what he wants to do with it.
Totally agree. Totally agree.
Let's see here.
I don't know if Steven has that option.
I don't have that
available to
feature,
him
but
yet.
I will hook you up with some information here because I do have a few options.
That's Aaron, by the way.
Yeah. So that is my PayPal.
Yeah,
and
man.
if you've got the Cash app,
Probably at Gmail, not Ymail.
no, it's Ymail.
It is?
It's
What
a
the
Yahoo
fuck's Ymail?
abbreviation.
Wow.
Yahoo.
You
But yeah,
and
don't
my
type
wife
Yahoo.
are the
Just
only
put
people I
Ymail.
know who use Yahoo.
Yeah.
I heard somebody give
And-
out an AOL email today.
My wife still has a Hotmail account.
But didn't Hotmail turn into something?
I think it's part of Google now, isn't it?
I don't know. I don't remember.
I don't know, but yeah, she still has it. I had one when I was in high school. But
Yeah, so did
couldn't tell
I.
you. I
So
had a
did I.
mail.com, not
I had a.
MALE.
Do you remember
but
Juno.com?
What is it?
Juno? Juno.com?
I do remember Juno.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I don't have sorry. I only have PayPal and that because this tier of free stream that I pay for doesn't allow me to do the donations. So those are my options, unfortunately. But
Well, I think when you get to 1K, you get super chats.
okay, well, when I get to
So
1K on
so if you guys
YouTube,
know people who aren't subbed to Steven, let's help him get to 1K because he's pretty goddamn close at this point.
yeah, I'm just shy of 100, I think.
Dude. Nice. Oh,
Yeah, like
fine.
870 something last I looked. It's been going up and crawling on its own. Like yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, like I looked at the analytics. It said 52% of the people who watch regularly don't subscribe, which is kind of silly. So that's an option there. And then my PayPal is just
Hell yeah, I
close the
remember
hatch at
MSN
Ymail.
Messenger. I remember trying to like find girls in my area.
You could do that with AOL Messenger too.
Yep. ICQ.
Yeah. We just got a big jump in people. Bun must be boring today. Also, I'm just not going to stream to Facebook anymore because no one watches it. Like, I can look at it and see that there's no one on there.
I feel bad
Yeah.
because I get messages on Facebook and then I don't see them for a month because and I always respond with this, I'm so sorry that I am this late. You're better off messaging me anywhere, sending me a letter than messaging me here on Facebook because I hate Facebook. I hate it.
Dude.
I understand there's some level of like communal it's not worth it to me. I reluctantly anything on Facebook is pushed there from fucking Instagram or later. That's it. I don't go on there. But maybe once a month. Maybe once a month.
Things between Instagram and here.
Yeah.
Facebook. I focus most of my effort into Instagram and here.
Yeah. That's what I want to do. Like
YouTube.
I just want to focus.
We're
I
doing
would
the same
really
thing
just
with
like
our podcast. I'm focusing it there too.
Yeah.
And
I
I'm
think
doing TikTok
Instagram's
now
good
'cause
for like
Miles said
stuff
so.
like stuff like the with the podcast it's good to have like an Instagram like a visual element to it. Like it's cool. I get it. It's good. I get that part of it.
You want to hold down the
Instagram
fort for
can
a second?
sometimes
Go
be
make
hot
pee?
garbage. Yeah, go ahead. Go make pee.
I'm gonna
How much
mute myself so you don't hear me pissing.
Could you elaborate? Because I feel the same. Okay, development. So I hate social media because, especially Facebook, it's primarily like my parents' generation. I'm 40, probably some of your parents' generation. They're just caught up in negative feedback loops. Now, I know you've heard this before, but it's like there's algorithms. Perfect example is if you're on YouTube and you start searching for guitar recording or guitar repair luthier stuff, you start getting pushed more of that in your feed, like on your just main homepage. Well, Facebook is doing that. So if somebody has one negative thought, then they get pushed more posts about that same negative stuff. And then the next thing you know, you have groups of people who believe that lasers from space start fires and shit like that. You know what I mean? Or who believe the world is flat. Like all that stuff was started on 4chan and then it goes onto Facebook and people get into these groups and these negative loops and then the next thing you know, like people really think there's lizard people and that fires are started from Jewish space lasers and that the earth is flat. Like people believe that stuff and it's because of social media, I firmly believe. So it's and like I mean on a personal level, like I have like family who are just not of my immediate family, but they just scroll, they're just scrolling, they're just doom scrolling, and they just think that they have this negative outlook on things they have a tiny piece of information on, you know? So, and it's often used as this like means to connect. And yes, Bun brings this up, and you can find a community on there. Obviously, there's positive groups on there, of course, but that's just something to keep you on the platform more. Like it is man, I hate how I sound, but I know, but it's how I feel. It's they're making money off of your information. It's an advertising web page. It's an advertising site, you know? They're just pushing targeted ads at you. And people say like, "Well, I can communicate with my family." You can call your fucking family.
Exactly.
You can call them. You can text them. Like it's turned into this giant thing. And I also feel like it feeds into the whole like there's like we don't need to get into it, but yeah, that's basically where that's basically it. I just don't think it adds. I don't think the good outweighs the bad, in my opinion, and that's just
I
my
agree.
opinion. Just
There's
my opinion. I mean, the last thing I'll say is like I've met a lot of cool, like you guys on YouTube, and let's face it, YouTube is somewhat of a social media, but like I don't have to engage with the negativity on YouTube. So,
no, you can filter it out.
yep, yep.
I mean, I agree with you. There's a lot of I don't know. This is not a gear related conversation, obviously, but yeah, there's a lot of confirmation bias and just
100%.
things that if you I don't know, man. If you look for a certain thing and that's what you're after, or the people that are around you are looking at a certain thing, that's all you're going to see, and it creates an algorithm based upon your interests. So if all you're doing is talking to people who often post things about conspiracy theories and you're liking it and replying to it, then that's all you're going to see. And at a certain point, that confirmation bias becomes your reality, and then that's that. I'm not in that world. Like, I tried to interact less and less with Facebook because at the beginning of all of this pandemic shit last year,
Yeah.
when I had nothing to do, before I
Yeah.
even got into really YouTubing at the level that
Yeah.
we're doing, I wasn't doing streams at all. This is only my second one, really.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't know, man. I fell down a rabbit hole where I was looking at a lot of that shit and just being like, God, these people are stupid. But then I'd get myself worked up about it, like wasting my time looking at it.
Yeah, and that is my problem too. Is I get upset at like, and someone development says like, yeah, one cop does bad, then it puts people in the thought that every cop does bad. Dude, let's not get it wrong. Like, we have a problem
Mm.
with law enforcement, but there's it's also like going too far to the left is not the answer either. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, people don't know what they're fucking talking about, and then they get into these loops of what they want to be, of what they think,
Mm-hmm.
and then they get solidified in it and entrenched and dig in their heels. Like, there's also like it gets rid of nuance. Like development. Your statement is not wrong, but it's also like there's no nuance there. Like you think that it's not the case, but then there's people who live in a different place and have different experiences who don't see it that way.
Yeah.
And because of social media, we don't empathize with anybody outside of our thought process. That's what happens.
Yeah.
I've been guilty of this shit in the past. I was very closed-minded about a lot of things. But when you experience certain people in a certain way, you sort of like realize you don't know shit. You don't know shit, man.
I don't know anything. I'm
Yeah.
aware that I'm dumb. Very self-aware.
It's actually, yeah, I'm a shape changer. Yeah. If people put as much effort into digging into positive stuff, like Aaron says about music, if people put as much effort into looking for the good and digging into the good, there would be more good.
Yeah. I think you just can't. Like, I don't know. I interact with it less and less. I use it to post links to things I'm doing here.
Yeah.
Pretty much exclusively anymore.
Yep.
And I communicate with the Baritone Obsessed community a bit because I'm a moderator there, but even that I'm not on very frequently. Just, I don't know. There's not much, like, whenever I get on it, I'm just like, oh, there's a reason. Like, I deleted the app off of my phone a long time ago. I have to actually, like, log in on the computer here or
Yeah, I
log
don't
in
have it
through,
on my phone either.
yeah, I have to log
Half
in
the
through
time I don't have
Safari
Instagram on my phone.
to get it.
I
Yeah.
erase it all the time. Development, I wasn't. Listen, this is the thing. Like, we can have like a discussion. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying you're wrong, and I'm sure you're not thinking I'm totally ignorant. But I lean on the side of like stepping back out of what I think I know. You know what I mean? But it comes from me not being that way. So it's cool. It's fine. I'm just kind of like was using your example as an example as well. I think that both sides go too far, you know? And
Agreed.
those of us who are like trying to just be in the middle, like we're bombarded with insanity on both sides, you know?
I feel, I don't know. I try to, I mean, I live pretty insular anyways, even prior to COVID. I might keep my circle pretty small.
Same. I'm the same way.
So
I'm
and
quality over quantity for me.
for sure. And like, it's the same thing as with me going back and forth between Canada and Ohio. Like, my daughter's here, so I come here and then I go back and live with my wife. But I try to make sure that my time spent either way is spent in a constructive way, and I'm not wasting my time fucking with my phone and all that stuff. Not getting caught up in it. Just, there's nothing to really benefit from it. It's cool. Like, this shit's way more beneficial to me. Actually, having the conversation, hanging out with people, and interacting with people is much more beneficial than just observing chaos.
Yes. Well, I mean, dude, it fucks with you because I fell into it, you know, during the pandy at one point too. Like, I want to be informed, and I just fell into too much shit. Like, and listen, man, in development, I know how I sound sometimes, but I'm a realist. I'm, I don't sugarcoat shit. I know there's a lot of bad shit going on, but there's also good shit going on. We just don't focus on it, especially in the States. We just don't focus on it because it's not salacious. It doesn't sell. It doesn't make good TV shows. You know, like,
Yeah.
at least that's what we're fucking. You know what I mean? That's just what we're trying. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a whole fucking
it's a whole
thing,
other
man.
conversation. Did you know the guitars are cool?
Yes.
Uh,
Yes. Guitar. Did I show you guys the baritone build's coming along? I got 2 strings on it. That's how I'm gonna play it right here. It's gonna be an acoustic. Yeah. Tonight I'm gonna paint this with. I got some black shielding.
Ooh.
And since I can't solder, since I
Solder.
somehow overlooked.
Hello, Jordan. Jordan, are you the only person on from Facebook? No, you're actually on from YouTube. No one comes here from Facebook.
Yeah,
Fuck Facebook.
I did several streams with both, and it was the same deal. I'm like,
Yeah,
nah.
this is the second one that I've done, obviously,
I don't
but like,
need it.
I'm looking at the numbers and there's no one from Facebook on it, which I'm not complaining. Like, okay, moving on. No more Facebook talk. Fuck off.
Fuck Facebook.
Jeez. What do we got here? Sorry, I'm scrolling
We all
through the comments.
we all found some common ground and are dislike and disapproval for Facebook.
Yeah, it's
See,
suspect.
we're not the problem. It's like the older generation that is so entrenched in it that don't realize. Dude. Oh man, forget it. Like, I don't want this to turn political and shit.
Yeah, let's move on from this weird,
Let's
uncomfortable
get on
topic.
back onto fucking something fun, man.
Yeah. What's everybody listening to? I know I did this one before, but I'll ask every time.
Yeah, do it. I listened to the new Rob Zombie today. I really dig it. Really dig it.
Well, Did I spell that
No,
right?
dude, you're fine. You're fine. You asked me about social media, and then I took it a whole nother place.
Master tangent.
Dude, John 5, man. I tell you what, like John 5, like I'm a Manson fan. I don't care what anybody says, like, but two of my top ranked as far as I'm concerned Manson albums John 5 played on. John 5's playing in Zombie, and he kills it on this album because he goes in and out. They go in and out of heavy stuff, and he'll dive into this chicken picking stuff and this blues, dude, this southern blues stuff. Man, it's so sick. It's great. Wormed. Aaron always has some sort of creepy disease sounding band that he's listening to.
Wormed. I've been listening to this Canadian band, Mall Crimes, which like kind of noise rock stuff. I did a website for one of the members' other bands, and then they released that, so I listened to that today. I
Mall
finally
Crimes.
listened
That's
to
a
the Little
dope
Nas
title.
X song everyone was mad about.
Nas X? Oh,
The Little
one where
Nas
they,
X
thought
thing
he was
everyone was
Satan?
pissed about. Yeah,
Dude, it's a fucking song. It's a music video.
yeah, it's solid. Like, I respect the fuck out of him for being able to fucking rock the boat somehow in this day and era. But
It
like,
doesn't make any
yeah, I got no issue.
sense. It doesn't make any sense that people still
It's
get
the same.
like
It's just satanic panic shit. Anyways, I
That-
listened to that just to listen to it.
how many Satanists are molesting children in church?
Uh,
Sorry.
Jury's out. Anyhow,
Yeah.
I've been listening
sorry.
to Whores. This band Whores. They have a record called Gold that's a couple years old. I've been listening to that again.
Nice.
Let's see here.
What else have we been-
Three.
I've been stuck on that new Lamb of God album a little bit. I'm trying to get away from the stuff that I'm listening to regularly. So, like, I listen to, what is it? I always forget this goddamn album I listen to. Denzel Curry. I don't know if you're familiar with him. Hip hop. Him and one of his producers, Kenny Beats, they always make the sickest albums, and they have an album I think came out last year. Super good. So good. Like, ridiculously good. So I listened to that recently.
What else?
I've been listening to a lot of the shit you've been sending me. Like, I don't have those names memorized, but I'm listening to like different stuff thanks to you sending me stuff.
Fucking Battle of Mice is legit one of my top 10 bands ever. So much so that when they repressed the entire collection of their discography a couple years back, I spent like $75 on that thing. It's one record because they only put out like 3 EPs and it was expensive as shit. But yeah, I love Battle of Mice. It's early Julie Christmas. It's like a super group.
Nice.
Great. The drum recording is fucking spectacular on that record. Been listening to this band called Concrete Ships. They have a record called In Observance, which is super noisy. I dig that. Let's see here. Ozric Tentacles, psychedelic proggy stuff. Oh, that sounds interesting.
Well, you guys listening to some. I feel like everything
Godspeed.
I pull out is mainstream.
Godspeed You, Black Emperor. Man, I haven't listened to that in a long time. Is that still a thing? I thought they broke up. They're awesome though. I like them. I'm still on my electronic like pop kick, so I've been listening to Sylvanesso still just because I love it.
Yeah, I listen to the Green Boards of Canada album all the time. All the
Boards of
time.
Canada rules.
Yep.
It sure is. That's the wrong thing. I'm doing some Bun stuff.
I've been
Royal
diving-
Blood I started listening to again.
Hmm.
Royal Blood's fucking good. Just
You ever
rock
heard
and
the
roll.
band Nothing But Thieves?
Yeah.
They're good. I
Yep.
really dig their stuff.
Bjork. I'm on a fucking constant Bjork kick. I go through phases where it's like all I listen to. Her. and
Wow,
Fiona
man.
Apple.
Okay.
Dude, if you want to really break down the musicality of some fucking wild shit, like Bjork is fucking wild. Like,
Yeah. No
it's
doubt.
on another level. And same thing with some of the early, like, well, all Fiona Apple's great, but like When the Pawn, there's so much shit happening.
What was her last album? Is a trip.
Fetch the Bolt Cutter, or the one
Is
before
that
that.
it? Mm,
I have all of her shit. I'm a big fan of hers.
yeah.
Author
I am
Punisher's cool, super noisy.
Yeah, I'm a fan
I
of
just
Fiona as well.
I love it. Can't get enough of it. Hiatus Coyote, I listen to a lot. I love that shit.
Yes, you're right. Fetch the Bolt Cutter.
Yeah, and Napalm's solo stuff is great. Super weird. Bjork, yeah, Bjork is amazing. It never gets old for me.
That's dope.
I listened to Garfunkel and Oates the other day. If you haven't heard that, that's funny. It's not
Yes.
musically good. But Garfunkel
Yeah.
and Oates is funny.
Those comedian girls, right?
Yeah, Kate
thinking the same
Micucci.
thing? Yeah.
Yes, Kate Micucci and the other one. I can't think of her name.
Both of them are hilarious.
Yes, Kate Micucci had a podcast for a while called "Playing with Micucci," and it's the funniest fucking title ever.
Real quick on the subject of comedians. Oh, we talked about this. I got Louis' his new special that just came out this month. Watched
Ginger's
it.
solid,
Super great. Love Ginger.
heavy,
Very
super
heavy.
heavy, very good.
Go in and out of genres too, now and again, which I dig.
Yeah, it's also like sometimes super low,
Mm-hmm.
like weird octave effect stuff happening.
Yeah, I saw them live, and boy, let me tell you, they are amazing live. I
They're
actually
strictly
took.
fucking Helix, dude.
Yep.
Like all Helix.
I actually let me show. I'll bring this up.
That-
Ooh, I have this
Soda
page.
tastes like ass.
Very.
We were talking about them earlier.
Love 12-Foot Ninja. I'm a fucking. I love that band.
I mean, if you really want to get
The
wonky,
modern day Mr. Bungle.
just putting it out there because I'm going to show you because it's funny because I've been listening to it, but I don't know how well you can see that. That's Teddy Pendergrass.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Sometimes you got to set the mood for yourself.
Dude, I go back and listen to like
Conjurer rules.
anything that
Aaron.
comes out on Daptones Records. I'll listen to at all times. I'm
Oh,
sure
I
you're
love all that.
familiar.
Like, yeah, any of the vintage soul vibe stuff I love.
Oh man.
Those Charles Bradley records are fucking
Oh,
amazing.
And then what's her name
Wanda
too?
Jackson.
Yeah.
Wanda, so
Yeah.
fucking good.
Insane, man.
Yeah, we have a Bluetooth speaker in the house that is usually in the kitchen or occasionally in the living room, and I'm usually in my office or I am upstairs in bed. And sometimes when Mercedes is not expecting it, I just start sending weird fuck tunes, as I call them, to the Bluetooth speaker. Just Teddy Pendergrass and fucking Al Green, like anything that's like pussy getting wet jams.
Yeah, man.
It usually doesn't yield the results that the song should, but they are funny. I listened to the most recent Pussifer record. It was pretty solid.
Pussifer?
Yeah,
They did a new record?
yeah.
Or-
They did a new record and then did like a live stream that was pre-filmed, which was really interesting how they accomplished that. The new
Huh.
Deftones record is still on repeat for me right now.
Yeah, I'm surprised that I haven't heard that more because Tony loves the Deftones, and
Dude,
I don't think she's
it's-
really gotten into that album yet.
It's so fucking good. I wasn't like, I love all Deftones stuff, but the last record, Gore, was my least favorite record they've ever done. And I
Yeah.
still like it. But it's just, it doesn't have the staying power. This record is like back to being what I expect from them.
Mm-hmm.
It's great. And the recording's really amazing. They went back to using Terry Date to do all the stuff, and it sounds like White Pony again, which is awesome.
I don't know what it is. I like a lot of Deftones, but I can't get into it to the degree that some of my friends like them. And
Yeah.
I wish I knew what it is about it because like there's elements of Deftones that I love. I love in my own shit, you know. I love it's heavy. I love the spaced out shit, the ambient shit, like riffs, and then just low gain stuff. But I don't know, man. I think it was just like when you got into Deftones, like as far as your formative years, you know. And they weren't on my radar for a long time.
They were, I mean, fuck, I don't know, early high school for me. Still a thing. One of the few bands of that time in my life that is stuck, is still a consistent thing. But they don't, that's the thing with them is like all those other bands, I mean, with the except, like, if you gotta think about it, like all the shit that was popular during that time, so like Creed, Limp Bizkit, fucking Korn, all of the early new metal, Eric Kitty, Slipknot,
Yep.
so on and so forth. Slipknot,
Yep.
Korn, and Deftones were the only ones that really had staying power. And Deftones left being a new metal band like way early, and like from basically White Pony on, they were not that type of band anymore, and made every effort to get away from it. So, and I just kind of followed suit. Like I stopped listening to that type of music right around the time White Pony came out.
Yeah. That's when I really got into like Swedish metal. So like I kind of left, like when new metal was kind of just starting, I sort of like left and went exploring Swedish metal and everything Scandinavia, and then going back and listening to obscure thrash and English metal, and you know, I was listening
It
to
took
basically
me a while to get into that stuff. Like initially, because I like Jordan, if he's still on the stream here, we were in a band together in high school, and he and the drummer at the time were real into like the Swedish metal, so like early Arch Enemy and things of that nature.
Yeah. Yep.
Early, like in Matt, the guy that was a drummer in the band we were in high school, he was like listening to 18 Visions when they were brand new, like all that wave of
Yeah.
early post-hardcore shit or whatever you want to call that, prior to the breakdown metal scene. When like first Killswitch Engage, when Jesse was originally in the band.
Man, that first Killswitch album when it came out, I remember hearing them on like. Remember when you used to have cable and then they would have the music choice channels, where it was
Yep.
like the music channels.
Yeah.
And they would always have like a metal channel with like new metal music that wasn't playing on the radio yet. I remember hearing Killswitch for the first time, 2000 probably 2001, and I was blown
it would've
away.
been around that time.
Yeah. So
Yeah, Mars Volta rules.
you know, and dude, there's still like, I'll go back and listen to some new metal shit, and I still dig it. Like I was a huge Linkin Park fan. Not at the time,
Oh, yeah,
believe it or not.
Forget about that too. I loved Linkin Park early on,
But I love that first out. Like, yeah, I mean,
dude, if a song's good, a song's fucking good.
that's kind of the way I am, man. And I think they did some experimental shit on a lot of those albums. You know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the fucking second record, wasn't there like an alternate version of it that was like Jay-Z and them, like the
Yeah.
entire record?
Yeah.
Yeah. I got no issue with any of that shit. If you're willing, like, I think I don't know. When you're a fucking teenager, you're arguably a piece of shit. So, like,
Correct.
everything is so absolute. Like, fuck this. I like this.
This
like,
is what I like, and I don't give a shit.
And
anything.
it's so
don't
fucking
deviate.
stupid.
Yep.
As I get older, I like everything more, and like I don't know, like if I was to talk to myself in high school, like now, like other than the fact that I liked Portishead, that's about as close to electronic music as I got at the time. But like like me listening to like Sylvan Esso, which I keep mentioning, they're strictly an electronic pop band. Like it's straight electro pop. But I fucking like it, and I like the melody choices. I like that it's all purely in the box, and they're one of those bands that people bitch about because like, oh, they're traveling with a laptop and a singer, and that's
Who
their,
cares?
they fucking travel in a fucking 2-door fucking car.
I mean, I
and
like
they drive
what
around
Billie
the country
Eilish does
and-
with her brother, man.
Yeah,
Like,
they make bank, son. Like
Yeah.
I'm like,
no,
why
yeah.
am I? Why would anyone? And also, they still have to record all that stuff in real time. Like both of those that girl and that fella are both musicians.
Yep.
So when they record everything, they actually play the instruments. They record all those parts into Ableton, and then when they play live, they just trigger it from Ableton. And dude still has control over it. But like, I got no qualms
No,
with
I
that
don't
shit.
either, man. I don't either. I mean, I'll go back and remember like bands like Spine Shank.
Yeah, I
like-
fucking love Spine Shank.
There's some good songs, man. Like
I like Spine Shank. I liked Fear Factory back in the day. Kind of Spine
Dude,
Shank was Fear
there's
Factory
that-
Junior.
that first American Head Charge album. Maybe it wasn't the first.
I think that was
but
the only
maybe it
one
was-
I never got into. There was a lot of people that loved them, and I couldn't get into it.
There was only one album I absolutely loved. It was just so heavy and
Well, this
produced
is
in
a good
such
question.
an amazing way. classic prog like Genesis and King Crimson.
I love early Genesis. Now, there's different Genesis, right? So some people don't even acknowledge once Peter Gabriel left. I like both forms of Genesis. The Phil Collins leading it, or Phil Collins being on whichever you're in.
That's a Turbo.
Yeah, but I don't know. I like both of them. I like King Crimson, but at the same time, it's not like I don't know. I can't listen to it all the time, but
Yeah. So here's the thing: like, Fripp was in King Crimson, right?
sure was.
Yeah. I
Robert Fripp. Yep.
I love. There's no denying the musical genius of him, and there's some. I couldn't wrap my head around it, you know. At the time when I was getting into the shit I was getting into, and King Crimson's name was coming up, so I sort of like deviated, and then so many years have gone by that it's definitely one of the, I always say, like, there's a chunk of bands that I should be into or know more than I do, and King Crimson's one of them. Early Genesis, vaguely know some of their early stuff, but I like Phil Collins, I like Genesis, I like what Peter Gabriel did after Genesis, like,
I fucking love Peter Gabriel.
dude,
Love Peter Gabriel.
for real. And then if you watch some of his live shows too, it's like ridiculous.
Mind blowing. Way ahead of time.
So absolutely. What else was there, as far as like classic prog, if you will?
Well, people consider Rush that.
I think Rush is absolutely prog, and I love
no,
Rush.
man. That era of prog was not my thing. I feel prog kind of morphed into a lot of things. I like, because arguably a lot of jam band prog, depending on how you look at it.
I suppose, yeah.
Yeah.
So the
Zappa,
Dead's
for sure.
prog.
I do like Zappa. Zappa is a bit self-indulgent at times, but I think that's the point of prog, right?
Zappa, yeah. You're basically just.
I was in a band called House when I was in high school as well. Like, I was very shortly in it because they were way better musicians than me and kicked me out. And they would cover Zappa stuff and cover Talking Heads tunes and stuff when we were like in high school and no one else was fucking with it. And I just couldn't keep up. They were like, I played with the one guy for a long time in a funk band, but like I just couldn't fucking get. Queen was prog. You're right. I guess Floyd is. I don't like Pink Floyd.
Yeah.
Sorry.
See, I do love Pink Floyd,
Good.
but I don't like. I'm not one of these like, you don't like Floyd, because I totally can see why people don't like Floyd. You know. But
yeah, I appreciate it, and I guess that's that stupid conversation we had earlier. No, there's some of the songs I really like. I think it's this. The problem is that everything that is prevalent in my mind is just like the shit that's on the radio.
Yeah.
So that's what immediately comes to mind. Like, I've heard metal and a couple other things from them that I really enjoy, and like the entirety of The Wall is great. And Dark Side of the Moon, the entire records are good. Just the songs that are on the radio bum me the fuck out.
No, I'm with you.
Queen, I love.
I love Queen.
Different eras of Queen.
I love Freddie. I love Bad Queen. I love every Queen. Like, yeah. I think Freddie was a freak as far as talent goes.
Yeah.
And then if you watch some videos about Brian breaking down the tracks, and like saying like he was so in tune with himself, his vocal tracks would go out of phase and shit like that. Like, people don't do that shit anymore, you know.
No, there's an Erykah Badu quote from, was that maybe Before the Music Dies? It's a documentary, and she says basically all you need is a beeper and a set of tits and show up.
Yeah.
They'll work the rest of it out for you.
Yeah.
Which is true, sadly. If you haven't watched that documentary, it's old, but it's super good and inspiring. It's called Before the Music Dies. I'm sure you can still find it.
Yeah. I'm always watching any music documentary I can possibly watch.
It's The Roots are on it. Dave Matthews on it.
Oh, I have seen that. but I'm gonna watch it again.
It's a bunch of bands that you would think like, how the fuck did this band become successful? Not in like a derogatory way, just like because they're such oddballs. Like if you listen to David Matthews. If you listen to Dave Matthews and you actually break down what it is, it doesn't seem like something that in description on paper that anyone would want to listen to.
Yeah.
But it clearly
Not let alone create such a rabid following.
Oh yeah, diehard as fuck.
We were talking about like John Mayer. Like I think a lot of guys are just so quick to just dismiss John Mayer, which like listen, I get it. Your Body is a Wonderland was annoying.
Baddie?
But bro, the guy
He's
can
clearly very
play circles around so many people. Like he's a ridiculous guitar player. Like low key, ridiculous guitar player. Not even low key.
Oh,
He's doing
Have
it
you seen the
in what?
I'm sorry. Have you seen the clips of him playing a bossy stuff, like playing Tosin's guitars?
Yeah.
He can play 8-string shit. Never had played it before, and was just like doing the shit he does. It's like, oh, this guy's a fucking genius.
He is.
Primus rules. I still love Primus. Like, the wife and I went down on a Primus. We were like, let's just preface it with we were high on drugs, and then we were eating edibles, and we were very fucked up. And I was like, we're gonna watch a bunch of Primus shit because I got on this thing because I was like, Primus has been around since 1984. Since 1984. They've been that band weird as fuck since 84.
Yep.
Honestly, they are prog. If you actually break it down, they are the closest thing to like a modern day prog thing. And they're not modern. They've been around since 84.
Anything less pretty much does. He did that, what's that, Frog Brigade?
Frog Brigade, he was Sausage.
Yep.
Yeah. But like every bit of that, like if you have to like really think about what that band is, and the fact that they came out in 84 and went touring as that band, and it's still that lineup. I mean, they've changed drummers a handful of times, but it ultimately went back to being Tim Alexander. So they, it's the same dudes, other than, and Brian Mantilla was in it for a short period of time. Mm-hmm. And Brian Mantilla was the original drummer of Primus, and he broke his leg or some shit and quit. So then the other guy, I can't think of what his name is, Jay, was the drummer, and then it became Tim Alexander. And then Jay was in the band again, Brian was in the band again, Jay was in the band again, Tim was in the band again. Now it's been Tim for like another 10 years now. But Oysterhead, which is, Stuart Copeland, Trey Anastasio, and fucking Les Claypool, which I think they were supposed to do a tour again right before COVID hit, which is a bummer. All that shit's crazy. But yeah, if you actually like think about what that, as weird as they are, the fact that they were commercially viable ever is wild.
Yeah, that blows me away to this day. You know what? I always think these little random things like, there was a Primus song in Tony Hawk.
Tony Hawk had an amazing soundtrack.
And I always think like, man, video games like that in like the 90s or the late 90s, early 2000s really exposed kids to this music that they might have never heard before. And then boom, they're off to the races.
Dude, I found a lot of like, because that first batch of like PlayStation games all had real deal soundtracks. Like the I don't know if you remember Panasonic before PlayStation. Road Rash was on that.
Road Rash, dude.
So the Road Rash, like the old school Road Rashes on Sega just had 16-bit music, but like the first more like upgraded version of when they Panasonic 3DO, the soundtrack was like Soundgarden and Helmet and Sugar Ray before they were like I Just Want to Fly, Sugar Ray. Like all these bands were on that, and that's how I found out about a lot of those bands.
Yeah.
And then there was the band there's one of those other games had like Ultra Spank. I think I found OTEP on a video game. Like just like at this point, that's one of the few that I'm like, I wish I didn't listen to that fucking band. But
I never was a fan.
Primus,
I respect the fuck out of them. But
Rollins' band Rollins band. I'll go on a fucking tangent. Like I love Rollins band, but there's two Rollins bands, even though they have the same name. Because I can't think what that. There's another like, fuck me, man.
Dude, first of all, Henry Rollins is a shit.
Yeah, but like, let's see. So the Get Some Go Again. I'm trying to think what the name of that. I don't want it to play. Ding dong. No. So there's In a Silence, which is the original lineup, and then he switched to being. There was like another lineup, and I can't think of it. Anyways, it was like Henry Rollins and something, but it was still the Rollins band, and a completely different vibe. He's interesting in that the dude is a prolific writer, and he travels all over the world doing all this super interesting shit. And then the fucked up thing is he stopped doing music because he said he couldn't write lyrics anymore, which is weird to me because it's like, dude is right constantly. That's literally what he does is talk to people and write for a living now.
Yeah.
Starve. Remember the Black Sabbath MIDI songs? That's funny. Man, yeah, I don't know. I could go down a rabbit hole to all that shit. I don't know. Fucking. I don't know. Did anybody get into ska? I wasn't a ska fan. Did you get into ska?
Yeah, I like ska.
You did?
Yep.
I had a lot of friends that were in the ska. The guys that later on became Hawthorne Heights, they were all in the ska, like Five Iron Frenzy and stuff. They were in a band in high school when we were, because I grew up with all those kids. Casey was my buddy when we were growing up. He was in a band called Clovis. That was a ska band. And my dad recorded them and one of my bands at the same time, like when we were kids.
Nice.
But yeah, like they all.
I love ska to this day. I love ska. I've been, I've gotten into this this new reggae stuff that my little brother was listening to, and he got me into it, and now I'm just like into it 100%, because it is like 100%. And I know this term is cringy, but it's chill vibes all the way, man. Like, especially if you take an edible or you smoke a little, like you can't help but like just fall in, and you're just like, dude, this whole album is killer. It's just a banger, beginning to end. But that's what's cool, man. It's like you hear the stuff I write, and the same goes for you. It's like you hear the stuff we write and what ends up coming out, and then you find out what we listen to, and it's just this huge like smorgasbord of shit,
Yeah,
it's just all over the map, man.
I don't feel any correlation between what I listen to and what I create, and I'm sure that it's there, but I'm not. Aware.
Yeah,
of it.
same. I think that all the time. Yeah.
Daria and Beavis and Butthead were.
Dude, yes.
Beavis and Butthead's how I found Korn.
Beavis and Butthead are coming back.
Yeah, that's weird.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Dude, that show.
Oh, did you get it?
Yeah.
I've
been watching
it.
I've been chipping away at it. I was
so
gonna watch
good.
some this weekend too,
I'll
but
put it on here.
it is so good. It's so good, and I just thought it was satire at first, but it's
no, it's real.
Mind-blowingly real. The Jerry Lee Lewis episode is bangers, man.
Yeah. That show's called Tales from the Tour Bus. It's a new Mike Judge show. Well, past few years, Mike Judge thing. If you haven't seen it, it's fucking amazing. It's
so
funny
good.
and fucked up, but it's all true stories. It's actual interviews, and then he animates over them. It's fucking unbelievable.
And then there's like some real hardcore emotion in some of that stuff too.
Oh yeah.
It's like, man, good. It's so good. Mike Judge is like, he's the best, man.
Have you gotten to the funk stuff yet?
No.
This the second season
think
where they talking about everybody doing LSD constantly. It's fucking amazing.
I think I stopped before that. Yeah, I got to. Yeah, I just got
the Waylon Jennings stuff is amazing. They canceled it, so there's not going to be a third season, which is a bummer. So those are the two. It's amazing. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out.
So good.
It's funny as fuck, and it's all true story stuff. It's really, really amazing.
King of the Hill was good.
King of the Hill, McFarlane owns, or Fox owned it, and I think they got rights to it with McFarlane.
Like Seth
MacFarlane. Yeah, he and Mike Judge were going to bring it back and during the Trump era stuff,
Mm.
without getting into that conversation, but because they felt it was appropriate
Mm-hmm.
for the time,
Mm-hmm.
and then they got into a kind of a pissing match with Fox about how to do it,
Great.
because it's licensed to Hulu for streaming right now. So Hulu basically has it until Hulu's contract is up with it. They can't do some weird. I'm sure if you Google it, you can find the story. Around the same time, Seth MacFarlane purchased the rights to the Flintstones and was going to start that again too. I'm way into weird animation shit. Sorry.
No, I dig it. I dig it.
So there's that. Rick and Morty fucking rules.
I tried to get into Rick and Morty. Maybe I need to go a little bit deeper. But
Dude, like I had this weird thing with those first two seasons that there's so much. Like, first of all, there's a moment after they fucking discover their own bodies buried where a Mazzy Star song plays. And I'm like, only somebody who grew up depressed as shit wrote this. Which connected for me. I was like, this is some fucking
well, for
existential
real.
fucking
Clearly,
shit.
I didn't get to that episode because that's some deep shit.
Yeah. That and the chaos thing when Rick tries to kill himself. And doesn't
Is this a kid's
succeed.
show?
But it's not a. Yeah, that show's fucked up. But yeah, there's some stuff on that show that's such like existential darkness that like it makes me so happy because it's just drab, like it's a bummer. But I like that a show is bananas. And the fucked up thing about Rick and Morty is if you look it up, it actually was going to be a cartoon of Back to the Future.
Oh yeah, that's obvious.
So it was Morty is Marty, and Rick is, fucking what's his fuck. And you can find the original animation for it when they actually were those characters before the switched to being something else. So instead of going through time, they're going through dimensions.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fucking interesting. I got into the
You're right.
show. I got into the show, regular show when my kids were a little bit younger.
Yeah,
That's a great show in my opinion. Not as
I
like
like that.
deep and existential as Rick and Morty clearly, but regular show was good. And Adventure Time was good because it was so quirky and bizarre.
Yeah, I like Adventure Time as well.
And I'm not gonna lie, like I like some of the early seasons of SpongeBob were hilarious.
The fucking Akira thing. You're right. 13,000. I actually watched that episode yesterday with Mindbenders. And the thing with that show is they used to do it every season, this fucking improvised cable thing, interdimensional cable. But it was basically just fucking Justin Roiland talking in front of a mic and just saying random shit, and then they would animate it. There's no fucking. It makes no fucking sense at all. It's fucking amazing. I don't know, man.
I need to get into Rick and Morty apparently.
Yeah, it's fucking cool. There's a 5th season started. I haven't seen any of it, but let's see. I listened to that Korgoth is cool. I don't know, man. The early fucking. You remember Liquid Television on MTV?
Mm-hmm. Of course.
So I did that. I was way into that. And when Ian Flux was super short and she died in every episode.
Oh yeah.
And then
Oddities.
yeah, MTV's Oddities. I used to have a shirt from The Head.
Dude,
I wish I still had
that
it.
show was sick.
Yeah, it was also a Mike Judge thing. There was that, and then you had the Max, which I love. I bought that on DVD.
Did you ever get into Frisky Dingo?
Yeah, I like Frisky Dingo.
Yeah.
I
Very much
my
like
aunt-
Arthur type of, or is that what it is? No.
Yeah,
Arthur.
it's the same people.
Is it? Yeah.
I didn't get into a ton of anime. I did like the basics. Like I got into Akira, and I was into a lot of other. Like I loved Godzilla shit when I was a kid, like old school Japanese stuff. But like, never really got into anime as much. I tried to. Like I went and rented everything, and at a certain point, it was like I think there's boobies in this, so I was excited. Got really into R-Chrome stuff in comic book form, which is what led me to anime, which is strange. Liquid TV was cool. All the early Adult Swim stuff, so like Moral Oral, and that sort. I love all that shit. Death Note is cool. I've seen bits and pieces of that. Attack on Titan, I hear, is good, but I don't know. I liked Afro Samurai. That was good. I'm trying to think.
Yeah, I never
don't
got
know.
into anime at all.
It's kind of, there's so much like to get into. I like Ninja Turtles too.
For the longest time, I was on a pursuit to watch every possible Jackie Chan movie ever created, and there's a
How'd
lot.
that
I mean, it went all right for a while.
go? Man, I don't know. I'm trying to think. I had a lot of weird shit. I have a fucking weird thing with Gumby because it was a part of my youth.
Bro, Gumby is...
I still appreciate it. If you follow, if you follow my personal Instagram, I posted this lengthy thing about Gumby the other day.
No, I don't know if I do. Is that Red Moth? Is
Mm-hmm.
it that one? Well, maybe I do then.
Yeah, it's on there. Art, I think his name's Fluky or Lukey or whatever. The guy that created it, like, he basically was an innovator of stop motion stuff.
Yeah.
Like, he started doing that show in the 50s, and it still is a thing. Like, there's still remnants of it. And even when they
Gumby was
redid
the
it,
shit, man.
when they did it in the mid 2000s, they redid it like a new thing. He did the whole thing, just he and his wife himself, even with like Fox paying for it because he was like, "Fuck you." But it's pretty cool. But I mean, it's corny. But you know, if you like think about how much effort, like stop motion animation's hard.
Yeah.
Like,
Something
you
I
ever
always
watch-
want to do. Or something I want, try.
Yeah, I was obsessed with that stuff when I was a kid. That and Henry Hayhouse and stuff, like all that he animated, like all the Cyclops and all that shit. Like I loved all that stuff when I was a kid. Got booed off stage at Gumby with a bunch of powder on my. Oh, you were Gumby for how? That's cool. I went through a phase like in junior high school where I got real into it again and started buying all the merchandise and stuff. Final Space, isn't that like a fucking? Doesn't Conan O'Brien have something to do with that? If I remember right.
Conan's funny. I love Conan.
I love Conan.
I've watched Conan
I dropped
for
from my earbuds.
the longest time, man.
My suppository.
Oh
boy.
Up your ass.
Man. Well, what time is it? I say, well, probably like 11:30. We'll wrap this up because we've been on a random tangent.
Rambling.
It's fine. It's a good
good to
time.
ramble. It's good to
I'm happy
ramble.
to do it. I'm sure Bun's doing something super constructive.
No, he's just going through comments.
Very cool. Was that a comment or a real life thing? He was a writer on The Simpsons. You're absolutely right.
Conan, yeah. He was head writer of SNL, too, for a long time.
Yep. You ever
The
watch the
Conan's
documentary on the TV show?
No.
You gotta watch it. It's so fucking amazing. Because it's like, it's where Steve Carell and Stephen Colbert got their start. They were basically
Really?
doing like fried chicken for that. Yeah. But there's early shit with them, like very first thing they did professionally, basically, other than commercials. And it's very funny. But the show didn't last. But the head writers of the show, which will tell you why it didn't last on mainstream TV, was fucking Louis C.K. and Michael Rappaport, I believe. Like, it's just people that are like, you let these people write a show? Like a mainstream comedy show at that point. This is before Louis was viewed as a genius, and then before he was viewed as a deviant.
I still think Louis is a genius, personally.
Yeah,
Comedically.
That show was so well done.
Man.
It was fucked up, but it's well done.
And Horace and his web series with Steve Buscemi.
Horace and Pete?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good too. It was depressing as fuck, but it was good.
Yeah.
Laurie Metcalf's fucking the one episode where her entire episode is a fucking monologue is brilliant.
Oh my god, dude. Oh, what was that other show? There was a show Louis was writing, but it was with the girl who was like his on again, off again on Louis.
Pamela Adlon.
Yeah. That
Yeah,
show was fucking great,
That show
dude.
was good. Yeah, and he once he got in trouble, he left, and they did 2 more seasons, and then it got canceled. So, fucking Amy Poehler and Louis C.K. were the original fucking producers of Broad City. So I mean, like,
Yeah. Yeah. Louis and Amy are pals, longtime pals for
yeah,
way back. Louis also was producer on. I don't know if you
watching our
watched.
numbers drop as we talk about Louis.
Oh well. Who
Hilarious.
cares? Baskets. You ever watch Baskets?
Baskets rules,
Dude, Baskets is one of the best shows in a decade, in my opinion.
He's
Louis
not a part
Anderson?
of that after the first season either. Louis Anderson playing
He did, I
the
think,
mom.
the first 2 seasons.
First 2 seasons, the 3rd season,
Yeah.
he's not a part of.
Yeah, Louis Anderson. I'm glad he got recognition for acting because he's
Playing Zach Galifianakis' mom.
Yeah,
It's
it's
funny.
genius. It's genius, man. And it's like it's ridiculous, it's funny, but it's so heartbreaking and real at times that you're just like, fuck, man, it hits you in the face. What a tangent that is, man. But
like the
fucking- I
2 or
love
second or
Baskets,
third
dude.
episode of that first season, where she, his fucking insurance agent, fucking
yeah.
catches a fucking coyote,
Oh yeah.
and she's
Socks
like,
or
"This dog
mittens
is
or
really
whatever it is."
fucking angry." Like,
She's like, oh no, dude, she's great too.
Yeah, that's
oh
funny.
my, dude, that show is so good.
oh,
I've turned
man.
many people onto that show, and they're like,
No, I'm-
"Where
I'm
did this show
fucking-
come from?"
I got hooked on it pretty early.
Oh, I'm so
That
glad
was-
you love that show.
No, it fucking rules. I have it
Makes
on my
me-
phone, actually.
Every time we find another common thread, I'm like, "Oh God, I'm just so, I love you so much."
What is this? Sorry, the things are refreshing. HH.
Oh, strictly by accident. I think Steven forgot that Bun's stream is tonight.
Yeah, I had no clue, but I was just trying to get one in because I have the time, and it's rare that when I'm in Ohio that I have time, and my kid's off doing stuff with her grandmother, and I'm staying at a buddy's house, and he went out of town for the night, so it's like, I'll just jump on here.
Yeah. So fuck Bun. No, just kidding.
No,
We love him. We love him.
I would be on Bun's stream if I weren't doing this.
Yes. And I still have it
imagine
on, just to show some love. Can't hear what he's saying, but
What was the HH stuff? Is totally my jam. Yeah, Henry Hayhausen. Yeah, fucking rules. It's
the
there's a
Gumby guy?
documentary on him. Huh?
that's the Gumby guy, or no?
No, he did like a bunch of stop motion animation shit.
Oh yeah, the Cyclops stuff. Yep.
Yeah. Was Bun wrapping up something? We just got like a big jump all of a sudden.
Maybe, I don't know.
I'll tell you what Henry Hayhausen did, because I'm drawing a blank. Maybe, if this fucking Google's being stupid. All right, never mind. Google's being weird. I think it's because I'm streaming.
How do you spell his last name?
Hayhausen is the thing. It may be Howard Hayhausen. I don't know. It's fucking Hayhausen. He did a bunch of animation. Shit with people like fighting skeletons and stuff. I can't think of the names of those movies.
Oh, yeah.
The Odyssey type of thing, if I remember right. I can't think of the names of them. Honestly, I haven't watched him since I was like fucking 10. Jason and the Argonauts. The Golden Voyage of Sinbad is the one I'm thinking of. Yeah. Those are very cool.
Yeah. That's what I thought you were talking about.
Yeah. On a music related note, have you Army of the Dead? That movie fucking rules too. A lot of stop motion in that. I don't whether you're into him or not, but I'm a huge David Byrne and Talking Heads fan. But if you haven't watched he has a thing that Spike Lee produced on video. It's like this lengthy performance piece, but it's like he does a bunch of material through his solo career, a bunch of material from Talking Heads, but it's all like separate instruments. Like if this is a drum kit, like someone's just playing the snare, so like almost drumline-esque. But it's completely choreographed, and the entire background is LED lighting, and all of what their movements and shit is like affected by the lighting and the color. Like it's fucking brilliant.
What's it called?
American Utopia. And man, it's like one of the best shot things I've seen in a long time, and the way it's done is just fucking cool. I love that music anyways because I like really like the Talking Heads, but
Yeah.
it's fucking, it's cool, and it's also like he changes the keys of some of the songs from what you've heard over the years, so it's like the same song but different key. But it's just done in a way that's super creative, and the use of the LED beds, like in relation to him, or if he's telling a portion of a story, like certain sections change, and they're all dressed in gray, and the stage is gray, so their colors change with the lighting.
Oh, nice, man. Yeah.
So like every time a mood shift or something happens in the music, the entire group of people, the musicians and the dancers and stuff, they all change too.
Yeah, dude, that's sick. Well, I jotted it down with that other music thing, Before the Music Dies.
It's on HBO. If you've got
bring it up
HBO
again.
Max, it's in there. We watched it at home a couple weeks back, and I didn't even know it was a thing. I stumbled on it, but I was like blown away by it. And then I turned it on to a few people that don't even like them, and they were like, Jesus, that's really good. Yeah, I mean, in his 60s now, but.
Did you ever watch that Go-Go's documentary? I think it's on.
I think I did actually, but I
think it's on Hulu. That's where I saw it. I think. It's
fairly
fucking
certain.
good, man.
I watched it with Mercedes. It was it's good.
Yeah.
What's her name? Jane or whatever. I can't think of her last name. Who was in that band? Who's still very attractive. I had a thing for her when I was younger.
Dude, there's a few of them that are still pretty.
Yeah, they're still getting it.
Like, okay.
I hope I'm not attractive when I'm that old.
Yeah. I'm already fucking look like a fucking sloth. So great. I'm great. I'm on my way.
I would not.
It's a good thing I'm married,
right?
because I'd never be able to fucking. I have to pay prostitutes.
Dude, speaking of paying prostitutes, definitely listen to the next episode of the podcast we did. It's the one of fucking wow.
When's it going up?
Wednesday.
Okay.
I
still have one more. I still have one to listen to. I didn't listen to the last one yet.
The one with Tanya is hilarious too.
Yeah,
it's one of the
I watched
funnier ones
a clip of it, I think, and I'm like, oh shit, okay, this is gonna be good, and then I got distracted. But
Tanya's setup is like her video setup is really good. Like ours looks like shit in comparison to hers.
Nah, you guys look cute though. I like that you're all trying to squeeze into your.
Yeah, but her husband is a filmmaker. Rob McCallum. He did. Have you ever seen it? Missing Mom? It's a documentary. It's on Prime. No. He did that. He did the He-Man toy action figure movie thing that's on Netflix. That's him.
Nice.
And then he did the Kitty documentary and that live concert that are also on Prime.
Nice.
But yeah, and then he has like a weekly show he hosts about like collectibles and action figures and stuff.
Oh shit. Okay.
But he uses like super like high, like I think at one point he was using the red, but I'm pretty sure that's what he's using for his stream shit too. It's like
Prick.
fucking unnecessary.
Come on, man.
But it looks beautiful. Like
of course, yeah.
Super well lit and stuff. Like it's really impressive. Like I'm like, because I think I've shown you. Like at home, I have my second monitors like up a little bit, and like her shit was like 4K, like super bright with all this crazy shit going on. I was like, holy fuck! Like their camera setup's amazing.
Yeah.
This is interesting. Army of the Dead, man. What's do you remember? Was it Idle Hands? I'm not sure why I'm thinking of this movie.
Seth Green.
With fucking Seth Green in it.
Yeah, man.
movie's fucking wild.
One of those great, terrible movies? Yeah, of course.
I haven't thought about it in a long time. It just popped in my head. The Army of the Dead thing made me think of it.
Remember Drop Dead Fred?
I sure as fuck do.
Quirky movies? Yeah, man.
Yeah.
That was one of
Yeah.
those sad, quirky, weird fucking movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Like imaginary friend movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's that. We were going through all these movies that were like generic versions of other movies. Like there's Gremlins, but then Critters came out right after it.
Yep.
And when they came out when I was a kid, it didn't correlate with me that like one is just a generic version of the other. It was like there's just two horror monsters in them, but like it literally
Jordan.
like Biodome, son of a bitch.
My wife loves that movie, and I'm just like,
Biodome.
I love
Son-in-law.
Pauly Shore now.
Yeah,
I hate Pauly Shore then.
I liked it then, I think, but like now,
I
can't get into it. My mom watches Son-in-Law a lot, and she watches In the Army now. Like she has them on DVD and watches them.
But I'm that way with like the movie Stripes. I can watch 100 times in a year. Classic, in my opinion.
With Bill Murray though, so.
You hate Bill Murray?
No, I'm saying it's Bill Murray though, so it's an excuse.
Yeah.
Like I watch anything Bill Murray's in.
Yeah, same. Like I'll watch Ghostbusters a couple times a year.
Pauly Shore was great on Futurama. You're right. I don't know. Pauly Shore's mom is basically responsible for
the
comedy
entire
as we know
comedy
it.
scene. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
That documentary, I know you and I have watched it.
Oh, I fucking love it, and it made me tear up a
That
couple
Comedy
times.
Store documentary is, if you guys are into comedy, what is it on HBO?
I
think
think either
so.
HBO or Showtime, one or the other.
Yeah.
You can
might
find
be
it on
Showtime.
like the downloading sites too.
The Comedy Store documentary is
good.
fucking amazing and just so good. Yeah, Goonies.
The
Was
Goonies,
dope.
fucking Sandlot.
Sandlot's classic, man.
The
Yeah.
sequel to it's garbage.
I didn't even realize they made one.
Mm-hmm. And that same kid, the redheaded kid, was it The Green or whatever, like the fucking soccer movie that's basically the same idea.
Oh boy.
Remember Air Bud? Do they still fucking make those pieces of shit?
No, man. You know what we should do? We should do when the next stream we should take an edible and then talk about shit like this because we'll talk about tangents, bruh. Dude, I love the Mighty Ducks because
Big
I
Green,
got into
you're
hockey around that time.
It's back. There's a new one.
What?
Mighty
Yeah,
Ducks
I'm not gonna watch it.
with Emilio
It's terrible.
Estevez.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Sweeney Todd is good. I saw that as a play when I was a kid and had no idea what the fuck it was about.
the ghost of Sweeney Todd.
Yeah. Fuck. There's the fucking Office episode about Sweeney Todd. Jesus.
Yeah. It's great.
Okay, let me tell you about how much of a fucking loser I am. I paid for Peacock because I missed The Office.
This is, bro, I'm telling you, we're going to be, if we ever need to renew our vows, we're going to be best men at each other's wedding because I did the same fucking thing. Like, dude, I'm sorry, sometimes I just want to fucking watch The Office or Parks and Rec.
Yeah,
Like-
have you watched the Gacy documentary on Peacock? Fucking wow.
Not yet. No, not yet. I know you told me. I need to.
That and there's a
I'm
series
afraid
on
to
there.
go down because I know how I love documentaries. I'm afraid to go down the serial killer documentary wormhole.
Oh, I'm
And I
over
think
that
because like I think I might be a serial killer, like mentally, like some of the characteristics. No, I'm just kidding.
shit. Space Jam with a hot pile of garbage. You're right, and they're making a sequel to that piece of shit.
Yeah, I liked Space Jam.
If you go on Space Jam's website, it's exactly the same as it was the year it was created.
Yep.
They bought a fucking Lifetime fucking domain. Looks exactly like it did in the 90s. Yeah, that's cool. Old fucking wrestling was the best wrestling.
Me and my son have actually started to get into MMA. Like, we've been watching old fights, and
Do you
dude,
remember when you had to like old fucking UFC? You had to rent the VHS.
yeah. Now they're putting more and more old fights up on YouTube. Like Dana's getting smart about it. Like, hey, we're gonna draw you
That's
in.
good.
Um,
Yeah, I loved that shit when I was a kid because it was like kind of taboo. It wasn't a thing yet. Like it was just the beginning
oh, for sure.
before anyone knew who the fuck Joe Rogan was.
And I was kind of like avoiding it a little bit because it does seem a little on the douche side. The guys that are get so into it, but
No,
now
you're not like
I have mad respect for like the technicality, and it's like the chess game of it, and the
Mhm.
chicks, dude. The chicks fighting are oftentimes, in my opinion, so much more entertaining. But
oh
that's
yeah,
a whole other thing.
the
Man.
fucking one of the main ones is from my hometown. That Kayla something, whatever her fucking name is. She's from Middletown, Ohio, where I grew up. It's where Jordan Harvey, who's on here talking this, well, he grew up. The Kayla girl, who's like the world champion, won the fucking gold medal for jiu-jitsu at the Olympics and shit. Like she's from my
Rose is
hometown.
the shit, man.
Yeah,
But
Man,
Amanda Nunes is I feel like Amanda Nunes could just beat men up,
a lot of
and
them
she's a
could.
sweetheart.
I enjoy all that shit, man.
Yeah.
It's not part of who I like. I'm not interested in fighting people, but I check. Don't fuck with cats is way fucked up.
What is that?
It's a documentary that's on Netflix.
About cats eating their dead owners?
No, there's this guy, this Canadian dude. It was, he posted this viral video of a cat murdering a cat, and then subsequently posted a few more. But then later posted a video on like 4chan or something of him murdering a man, and these internet detectives, if you want to call them that, but basically a Facebook group is what got him arrested because
Wow.
they got so obsessed with finding the origin of these videos and stuff that eventually he got caught because of them.
Interesting.
Luca Magnotta is that guy's name. I was trying to think, like, he's got a stupid fucking weird name. Yeah. John dies at the end. Yeah, Luca Magnotta, fucking crazy person. Yeah, you can still find it. It's out there. You can watch the video of him stabbing that dude to death.
Nah, I'm good.
Yeah, it's not the best. The videos of him murdering the animals are harder for me to watch, actually.
Oh yeah, I have no sympathy for people who take any sort of aggression out on animals. Like, we
that was
adopted
kinda
a
what-
dog that was clearly abused, and
Yeah.
like he's rehabilitated in the few months that we've had him, amazingly. But
Mhm.
I'm telling you, man, it bubbles my fucking blood to think like, what did somebody have to do to make you basically afraid of your own tail, of your own shadow, like of a dude wouldn't
People
walk
suck, dude.
backwards. Dude, people
Yeah.
do blow. But anywho, yeah.
Yeah,
I don't
those
really
are
wanna
worth
see
checking
anybody
out.
get murdered.
No, that's rough. Yeah, have you ever? What's that? There's the black metal documentary, like Until Light something or whatever. That's
I think
good.
it was Faces of Death, and I think half of them was fake.
Faces of the Dead
but-
was fake. Yeah.
But I still don't want to even watch any of it.
Yeah, I watched that when I was a kid. Actually, speaking of Jordan Harvey, if he's still in the thing, we had a period of time where we were renting because I was older than them. I think I turned 18 before all those kids. Like he was like 2 or
Oh,
3
you were
years
the bad
younger.
influence, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Yeah, we rented that, like every one of those, The Horrors of War, and something else. I don't know, a bunch of them, and then pornography. When you had to actually rent that shit. But yeah, I remember like sitting in a friend of ours' basement, being cool and drinking Mike's Hard Lemonade, watching Faces of Death. Super cool.
Yeah, I can't watch that stuff, man. It's not for me.
Not
I-
really. Yeah, I don't know. Like,
it sticks with me too much. Like I don't like seeing people getting really hurt. Like
yeah.
yeah, it just I don't know. It immediately gets replaced with somebody that I love, So like I see them getting hurt. And I think in high school, once I saw some kid get really, really, really hurt, like he was a dipshit and jumped off a bench to try and dunk and then fell back and basically slammed his head on the concrete and just broke such a chunk that it started I went over to help, and then he ended up having staples and everything, but it like, no, I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm good.
That's
It just sticks, and I just
yeah, I get it. I
don't need
understand
it.
completely. Anyways,
but-
we
yeah.
hit 11:30.
Oh yeah. All right.
We've been talking for about 3 hours.
Have we really?
Yeah, in 3 seconds it will be 3 hours exactly.
I'm all like, yeah, I'm gonna go do Steven's stream for a while.
Yeah, man, I don't know, without getting to that, like, I eat a lot of edibles when I'm at home because I'm a piece of shit. But
No, I dig it.
I just like that's what I do anymore. I don't sleep very well, so I have to kind of wind down. And I do that, and we've been watching. What is that? I think I sent you a link to it. That show used to be called Off the Air. I think it's still a thing. It's called Off the Air. Anyways, it's super trippy, but I'll get fucked up watching that, and then like forget I'm watching TV. So that's fun. So that's kind of my thing.
Yeah. I too like will partake in edibles because I like to just chill before I go to sleep, and it definitely helps.
Yeah, it winds me down. I usually get when I get to the point where I'm like starting to be a little bit faded or whatever. I'll like go put on a
There's
fucking
Bun.
podcast. Bun's on, right? You sign on when we're signing off. I'm sorry, Bun. I should have connected with you. So we wouldn't have been bumping streams, crossing paths,
Bumping streams.
bumping streams.
Yeah, I'm almost out of edibles, and that's what sucks. Like nothing's legal here, so I have to go to Illinois, but it's expensive in Illinois, and it's frustrating.
Yeah, I don't have anything when I'm in Ohio, because I don't have a license here. I have a license for California, but I'm not in California, clearly.
No.
And in Canada, it's
No.
legal.
Well,
Anyways, we'll coordinate better next time, Bun, because if we're all going to be on here, we should just make it a group
yeah, that
effort.
was not intentional.
Yeah, well, it's kind of my fault because I was doing it and I didn't realize it, and then I asked Nick last minute if he wanted to join me. So
And I'm like, yeah,
But-
and then kind of forgot it was
we
Friday.
talked about the topic at hand for 5 minutes, and we spent the rest of the time talking about nonsense.
Yep. We just.
But it's
started
been a lot of
talking.
fun, and everyone
Yeah.
that's been hanging out's been hanging out, commenting.
And the next stream we do, we're gonna take an edible, and then people can see the progression.
Well, I think am I doing Bandless this Wednesday?
Wednesday, yeah.
Okay. Because
Probably won't take an edible then.
No edibles. If it's my stream or we're just fucking off, then we'll have an
Yeah, we'll
space
make a
adventure.
specific stream, a fuck off stream.
Yeah. We're
it's
doing
fun.
also while I have people that are in a group here and are paying attention. If you listen to my podcast at all with my wife, our 20th episode we're gonna do live, but we're going
Yes.
to read submitted stories. So if people who listen to the thing want to write their weird sexual submissions, then we will read their stories.
What
on
about
the
funny
thing.
sex stories? Because I got some of those.
You can do that, or turn it into a weird narrative.
Did you like my review, by the way?
I did enjoy your review. You sent it to me before you posted it.
Oh,
but
that's
yes,
right. That's right.
Yeah, we're gonna make it a point to read through some of those stuff. Like that's
My wife read it, and she's like, holy shit, dude, you're a good writer. I'm like, yeah, I mean, I kind of always wanted to be a writer. So when I get the chance, I try.
yeah, I'm actually, since I'm back in school again, I'm enjoying the shit out of the writing portion of it. I'm
13, I don't live in a state where it's accessible, but there's ways.
where do you you're in Wisconsin,
I'm
right?
in Wisconsin.
So you got
I've
Illinois.
I don't know if this is like bad to say, but I've gotten it sent to me from people
Yeah,
in states that are it's legal, and I can go to Illinois, but like I said, the prices are kind of stupid. That's probably what I'm gonna have to do. Real responsible talk right here. But you know what? Booze is a carcinogen, so what are you gonna do? I'm fine
Yeah.
with it.
At Jimbo, I would be into that. I'm curious to see what kind of tangents we go on Wednesday without Bun to mediate.
Yeah, yeah. We're gonna do our damnedest to stay on topic, which I'm not even entirely sure what it is, but
I had literally one topic today, and then we spun off into everything just because. But and then we spent 30 minutes trying to get on Bun's stream.
yeah.
But yeah,
Cool, man.
I
This was a blast. I had a good time.
it was great. It was great hanging out. That's pretty much what it's
Anytime.
been, just a hang.
Yep.
Thanks everybody that's on. I'm sorry to the folks that are just now joining that we're ending. We'll plan it better next time.
It's pretty comical, so go back and watch it. We talk
Yeah,
about
it's
random
ridiculous.
bullshit. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks everybody for hanging out, and thanks for jumping on, Nick.
Yeah.
And,
Like I said,
yeah.
anytime, man.
cool. All right, well, everybody have a good night.
Later,
and whatnot.
guys.
Later.